The truth is, they're as dumb as they come.
Huh? It's a house!
Evil can never be dead enough. And some of you make shit up.
Hey, that was amazing. That was crazy. Yeah, for some reason they had to add an extra power pole, so we didn't have power from 8 in the morning till a little after noon, but I had a battery backup. And for some reason, I have this Wi-Fi. I don't know what it is. It's like Hughes Wi-Fi. And I was still able to connect to it with no power. Like, I don't know if it's inside of like a battery backup for the Xfinity, because it definitely wasn't an Xfinity hotspot because it had my name on it. It's pretty weird. So, I got my battery, backup battery got down to about 50%, so I was able to use, the internet and do stuff. But it was guzzling power, so I tried to turn off certain things, and then it screwed up the audio. It started using the audio from one of the monitors. You know how the monitors have their own speakers? So that was kind of weird. I think now it's working though. See right there. Yeah, I even put this notification out an hour beforehand, and we only got 43 people here. Classic. Exactly how it always is. Hardly anybody shows up, and you just sit there and you hope to God somehow somebody hears about something. It's crazy. All right, I gotta turn this off now. Do not disturb. All right. There we go. How's it going? All right, so tonight we're going to talk about the ransom notes, and there's all these different people, different videos and so forth out there. Ashley Banfield did one. She was saying, I think I'm the first person in social media and true crime to have said, after I heard that interview, literally the moment we were watching it, I said, "Oh, it sounds like they're convinced that it's not an interview." When Savannah would do those Instagram posts, but while we were playing it, I said, "Yeah, it sounds like they were made aware that Nancy's not alive." It was really obvious by listening to it. And yet, but there were so many people out there that kept saying that it wasn't. That's not what it was saying. Okay, so I hope a lot of you who kept telling me over and over and over, "Oh, you're wrong, Gray, you're wrong, Gray," can say now, "You know what? You were wrong." All right? That's how you got to do it. Let's see. What sign am I? What sign do you think I am? Mary. What sign do you think I am? How about that? There's a question. Why? I don't think she should have. I think the way it was is exactly the way it should be. I don't think if she downplayed anything, it would have changed anything. Or yep, Jason's he's got his procedure tomorrow to get rid of those damn kidney stones. So if you guys want to throw out those positive vibes again, that'd be awesome. I'm a Libra. Okay, I'm a Libra. You know what's weird though is it feels like there's two competing stories. Because remember the story, the version of the second ransom note that that Brian Enton gave out is different than the one that Howard Blum is talking about. So which one are we supposed to believe in? You know how they're totally different? Yeah, I'm a Libra, yeah. Why? What difference does it make? Jesus. Yeah. I don't know. So I think what we could do is listen to, because Ashley Banfield has she did a video on it. But maybe we can listen to Brian Enton's again.
Proof of life. There's no, but did not offer a direct apology.
Here, this one right here.
So, that was described as a ransom. And again, this is according to a source close to the investigation.
See, I think, I would rather listen. I think Brian Enton, he has a source close to the investigation is better than Howard Blum. Okay. Don't you think, he would have it more likely?
The note indicated that Nancy's death was not intentional, but did not offer a direct apology. So remember, there was the first ransom note that went to the local TV station that was described as a ransom note.
Yeah.
Then there was this second ransom note, which is what I'm talking about right now, which you'll remember we had the news director from that TV station on News Nation who said, well, I wouldn't categorize the second ransom note as a ransom note. She said the first ransom note she would categorize as a ransom note, but she would not call the second note a ransom note. And this explains why now. Again, I'm going to read it to you again. According to my source, the second ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case said she died and was buried with nature now, and that the death was not intentional, but did not offer a direct apology. There's been some other reporting today from other people saying that it was an apology. I am told it was not a direct apology, but that it did indicate that the death was not intentional. Again, this is the second ransom note. Remember, we don't know whether any of these ransom notes are real. Savannah Guthrie has said in the past that she believes that the ransom...
Right, but she's saying that because if the FBI thinks that they're real. That's why she's saying that. She's not just saying it out of, just randomly saying it. She's saying it because the FBI told her they believe that these are real. And you could tell that in that press conference with the FBI agent. That's what they said. All right, so we have that one. And then maybe, I think right around the 7-minute mark, 7:30.
It opened.
So right around, right here.
Reads, in this note, the contents of...
This is Howard Blum's comment. Thanks, Wild Bill.
...of which were summarized by sources close to the case. The sender took a new and less confident tone. It opened with a sputtering and labored apology. That was the word used by a source close to the case for Guthrie's inadvertent death.
Let's listen to that again. What? It's so different.
Because I think it's...
And Howard Blum, by the way, was way off in the Idaho 4 case. In fact, he wasn't close on anything. That book should be tarred and feathered. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Specific, and I want to attribute this...
In my opinion, of course.
This to him, not to me. So the exact text reads, in this note, the contents of which were summarized by sources close to the case, the sender took a new and less confident tone. It opened with a sputtering and labored apology.
Sputtering and labored apology. Does that sound anything like what Enton just described?
That was the word used by a source close to the case for Guthrie's inadvertent death. And Howard...
That seems to be similar, let me go back to that.
From other people saying that it was an apology. I am told it was not a direct apology, but that it did indicate that the death was not intentional. Again, this is the second.
So that matches that. But he sort of references. Let me listen.
This is new information that I'm going to share with you guys that I just received a little while ago from a source very close to the investigation that has to do with the ransom notes. The second ransom note in particular, remember the ones that went to the local TV stations in Tucson, Arizona. And I want to read you this exactly because I wrote down exactly what I was able to get from my source. I am told that the second ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case said that she died and that she was, quote, buried with nature now. And again, this is according to a source close to the investigation. The note indicated that Nancy's death was not intentional, but did not offer a direct apology. So remember, there was the first ransom note that went to the local TV station that was described as a ransom note. Then there was this second ransom note, which is what I'm talking about right now, which you'll remember we had the news director from that TV station on.
You know what's weird is that the writing is almost like female, kind of, you know?
News Nation.
Like guys I don't know, man. That's why I said it was weird yesterday. Everybody knows what the meaning is. You know, people are trying to explain what the meaning of buried with in nature. Everybody knows it means outside, buried outside, but it's just the using of the phrase, like, you know, seems kind of just strange wording. It's not even really worded correctly either. But here's the thing: is we're relying on a hearsay of what was said. We don't know exactly what it said.
Who said, well, I wouldn't categorize the second ransom note as a ransom note. She said the first ransom note she would categorize.
Yes, and then Howard Blum says that in the second note they asked for more money and stuff. Like they were like, "Hey, we'll give us some money and we'll tell you where she is."
As a ransom note, but she would not call the second note a ransom note, and this explains why now. Again, I'm going to read it to you again. According to my source, the second ransom note in the Nancy Guthrie case said she died and was buried with nature now, and that the death was not intentional, but did not offer a direct apology. There's been some other reporting today from other people saying that it was an apology. I am told it was not a direct apology, but that it did indicate that the death was not intentional. Again, this is the second ransom note. Remember, we don't know whether any of these ransom notes are real. Savannah Guthrie has said in the past that she believes that the ransom notes, or at least some of them, are real. And it's interesting. I want to play for you the video that Savannah released on Instagram
Well, then AI would have done a better job.
After this second ransom note arrived. This one that I am now reporting said that Nancy Guthrie died and was buried with nature now. And it kind of makes sense when you now go back and watch what Savannah said on Instagram after receiving that note.
Right. And then they play the same thing that we already said this months ago. You know, I don't know. Everybody's playing it now, and they're all pretending that it's new. That somehow we now know that they were told that Nancy wasn't alive, when it was really obvious in that Instagram. You can go back and watch my first show after playing the video, during the show, literally analyzing what the meaning was right as I'm playing it. And I said that they realize now that she's not alive and they just want her body back and will pay money to have her body back so they can celebrate her life with her body, not just sort of at a ceremony somewhere. All right?
Take a look at this.
We received your message and we understand.
All right, so this matches what, this is what it was sort of assumed what was said in the second ransom note. That they let her know that they weren't that Nancy was not alive, and they're just not going to. They're going to wash their hands of it. You know, they're not going to. I don't think there was anything. I think what they know is that she's buried somewhere, and they're willing to pay. If they'll write back one more time, they'll pay to find out where her body is. But the criminal probably, you know, the person who abducted probably thought to themselves, well, that's a trap. And so we're not going to risk doing it again because they might have figured out a way to figure out who we are. I mean, I think it's pretty amazing that, you know, the FBI and all these people out there haven't been able to figure out where the hell those came from. You know, you'd think with all the technology we've got out there. Hey, look at, we got a Timothy Cecil. Well, yeah. So look, Timothy Cecil said he'll match the next 5 gifted memberships. He'll gift 25 worth in coffee. Okay, it's actually, there's like a buy me a coffee thing. So if you guys want to help support the channel, that would be great. Even $5 super chats count. $5 gifted memberships. That'd be awesome. Oh, so they just wrote to, they did, and by the way, like Fox News and Jesse Waters, they're like acting like there's this new message. Is there a new one? Did I miss something today? There isn't a new message. They're acting like it's a new message, and even the guest was like, "Yeah, I don't buy it, man. This new one." It's like, what? What new message? What are you guys talking about? You know, what new message? There isn't one. I mean, have any of you guys heard of a new message? They're just talking about the one from before. We're finally. You know what? I don't know why the hell they're not just releasing the damn message. Put the freaking message out for people to read, because believe it or not, there might be people out there that might get something out of it that you didn't. Okay? I think they're irresponsible at this point, not putting that out there. You know, put the freaking letter out there. Are you guys even here? Hello? We're doing a show here. My God, everybody. Every single comment's about something completely unrelated to what we're talking about. So let's try to get onto this. No, it wouldn't affect anything. It's a ransom note he sent. Hey, look at that. It's Tracy Von Brott. Haven't seen you in a long time. Yeah, you're here, so type. You know, have comments about stuff. South Texas. All right, cool. Hey. Let's see. Yeah, or she did die accidentally. It seems like it could be that that people heard what everybody was saying about how fragile she is, and then went, "Oh, you know, I can just say that she died accidentally." But we do know. I think the person kept her alive so that she could aid in walking out to the vehicle that he had. It's interesting, though, they use the word "we" in these, just, you know, what Brian Enton's talking about. So it's like, I don't know, what does that mean, really, you know?
We received your message, and we understand.
Okay, so I'll just do the same thing that I did on the first show. What she's saying right there, we received, after listening to it once, we went back through it again, and it was, we received your message, and we understand now that our mother is not alive.
We beg you now to return our mother to us.
We beg you now to return our mother to us, you know, by letting us know where she is, or putting her somewhere where we can have her.
So that we can celebrate with her.
And that way we will be able to celebrate with her body here.
This is the only way we will have peace.
And that's the only way we're going to have peace, is if you give us, let us have her body so we can bury her. That's it. And by the way, we're willing to pay for that peace.
This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Right. So it was really clear back then that that's exactly what it meant. And it's frustrating to see every outlet right now talking about, oh wow, now look at what this is, and then compare it to, and it's like, yeah, we knew that already. Like if you were here, you knew it. I mean, it wasn't like it was. It's crazy. All right, so now let's listen to the Ashley Banfield reading Howard Blum, which sounds totally different.
Reads, in this note, the contents of which were summarized by sources close to the...
Yeah, and by the way, can you guys just hit the like button really quick? It's really simple. You just take your finger out and you press it. Now, if you don't have that, use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows, but just hit the like button. It's really simple.
The case. The sender took a new and less confident tone. It opened with a sputtering and labored apology.
Right. That's exactly contrary to what Brian Enton said. Howard Blum is a sensationalistic person, so it's hard to know.
That was the word used by a source close to the case for Guthrie's inadvertent death. And Howard Blum...
Well, we have two theories in here. I mean, I do. I have two theories. Other people have whatever theories they have, but my theories for my channel are that it's either a ransom, like a ransom that went wrong, you know, so like she died and they were trying to get a ransom and then they weren't able to collect on it. That actually has a little bit of bolstered momentum here, you know, just based on what was said in this. I mean, you know, there's a couple things. I mean, I saw Jason Bourne say that because there's the apology might not be, I don't know, it would mean that it was somebody like the nut job theory, the one where there's a crazy person who had some sort of fixation on Savannah and didn't really want to kill the mother and then felt bad or something. Or they could be faking doing that. But then you could also say that somebody who was just going to do a ransom, they don't have the same sort of evil malice of killing that other people do. And then once the killing happened, maybe that's when they felt bad. You know, they literally felt bad and went like, yeah, we need to, you know, I'm just going to write a note and say, hey, you know, she wasn't intentionally killed. She's no longer alive, but she's buried in nature. You know, or it's the same nut job theory. You know, the same nut jobs out there, and it's all just part of the same game, you know? Hey, thanks, Jareth King. I said, sorry, I can't stay. Just wanted to check in. Well, thanks for checking in with 15. Now, if the rest of you guys would promptly check out and then check back in with $15, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Come on! Let's see. I feel like kind of this person knew the family. Yeah, I mean, maybe. If he's a nut job, he could just be somebody that's, you know, was obsessed with them.
Blum's quote goes on. It says, it went harshly on, however, to offer up the transactional possibility that her body could be delivered for a sum.
See, that's not, yeah, but, okay. So what Brian Enton just said is completely contrary to that. If it did say that, wouldn't it therefore be considered a ransom note? By saying, I mean, I guess technically yeah, no, it is a ransom note. The ransom is that you're going to be giving a body back to the family. So it's completely contrary. You know what I mean? That has nothing to do with being fed. What a ridiculous comment. She needed medications. She needed everything. Let's keep going.
Whether it would be the original $4 million or another amount apparently was never clarified, end quote. So, again, This very detailed description from Howard Blum, quoting sources close to the investigation, suggests that it was a sputtering and labored apology, that the death was inadvertent. Howard Blum doesn't say buried with nature. That's ABC News. And then there's News Nation saying buried with nature now. So very specific stuff that's come out. And I think what's so important at this juncture is to go back in time to what was happening right around this time, because you'll probably remember that one of the local news stations that received the first ransom note, but then only this news station, KOLD, received the second note.
Oh, so I didn't realize that. So only KOLD got the second one. Okay, so then she does, I think she plays that right here. So this is on News Nation right here. And this is the reporter at KOLD.
New message is the KOLD News Director, Jessica Bobula. Jessica, thanks so much for
thanks,
coming
Timothy
on.
Cecil.
You've read this new message. First of all, did it provide any proof of life that the family's been asking for?
No, it did not.
Did it say anything at all about Nancy's condition?
I can't go into those details.
But clearly the FBI is now swarming Nancy's house, especially in the backyard area. Was there anything in this newest message that would direct FBI to go look or find something?
We're not releasing details of what is contained in the email out of respect for the family, other than what you saw in.
Yeah, I just think it's disrespectful. You know, why not put it right now? I mean, maybe back then it wasn't, because you're trying to work stuff behind the scenes. But right now, so much of it's been put out there. There's literally no reason at all that you can't put out the ransom note right now in full to let people look at. Okay, maybe not the first one. The first one would be probably actually more interesting, because that would have stuff in there. That's the one that had stuff where only the killer would know, or the abductor would know.
In Mary's social post, which actually the reporter also mentioned as well about the IP address.
But the key is, we just saw that video from Cameron Guthrie last night at this exact time. The night before that, we had the video from all three of the Guthrie siblings, with Savannah, Annie, and Cameron, all asking repeatedly, urgently, for proof of life. And you're saying this newest email does not provide that?
This newest email is something that I believe the FBI will need to look into without any interference. And so what we did the first time that we received the note, which is immediately send it to investigators and not report on it. And when we were able to speak with the sheriff's office, and they decided to put out a statement jointly with the FBI, then we were able to confirm that, yes, we did receive a second note.
When did you get that? What time was that?
That was about 11:45 this morning.
And apparently you've been saying, Mary Coleman, who was on the show last night, your anchor, your evening news anchor, said that it's from a different IP address than the first one, but it still appears to be from the same person?
Yes. So what we have done is share.
Yeah, well, they have the same. Well, I guess I don't know how you would know, unless they also provided the crypto account on the second.
Shared the information that we have. So
of course, they would use a different IP address.
The notes were both sent through our news tip system. Mm-hmm. So it does not need to come from a personal email address. You fill out a form. So
yeah, what are you talking about, Q-Wed Loss? Who's in here needing a cardiologist?
Through what we are able to do, in our back.
Yeah, it does kill people, especially if you have, like if she needed blood thinners, or if you're incorrect. Okay, let's just keep moving.
Back end with our website and our technology that we have here, we're able to make sure that the FBI has as much information as we can provide about where the email came from. But it is not from, a certain email address. You just fill it out, you put your name in there, you put what your email address is, but it's not it's not showing that it is coming from that email address. So the IP address information that we sent to them.
Well, there's always a chance something's fake, but it doesn't seem like they're fake because the FBI thought that they were real too because of stuff that was said in them.
Is, like I said, that
I'm just assuming that they're real because that's what they're saying. Okay.
It is not.
We can have alternate theories. Okay, so here the theory, if they are not real, is exactly the same theories. You know that? Exactly the same. With really the nut job theory is more, the one, right? Because that means they just did it. Well, the thing is, it's like, if there is no ransom notes that were sent out, what was the point of any of it? So that's why it seems like it has to be something. Like, there has to be some legitimacy to the ransom notes, because other than that, you know what? I don't have time to talk about blood thinners. Okay, so I'll put you on timeout for a little bit, and if you want to come back in a few minutes and be like a rational person watching a show, that'd be awesome. I'm not going to spend 45 minutes talking about blood thinners and beta blockers. All right. Good Lord, you got to be kidding me.
The same.
Yeah. So if there is no ransom notes, then what's the point of any of it? Like, that means the person would have gone out there and I guess you could say that they were going to do a ransom and then she died and they never sent one in. The nutjob person got all kinds of publicity, but only because somebody else sent a ransom note to a news station? I don't know about that. Yeah.
Address, but it does seem to trace back to a similar cloaking software.
And it sounds the same in tone and tenor?
It's hard to tell. There's sentences, sentence structure, but we're also doing a lot of reporting of our own today about how with digital notes, this isn't a piece of paper with magazine letters cut out or anything. It's hard to tell, with things coming through digitally, is it assisted by AI? Is it, written by the same person? It's very difficult to tell.
And did this message have an email address on it?
Yes, our form does require that you put a name, an email address, and a birth date. And so both of the notes had that, but they were not the same as each other, the two notes.
So they were different. The name, email address, and birth dates were different on the two notes. Were they?
Right. Like I said, it's just a form, so you can just type it in. There's no way to verify that.
You can put in Roger Rabbit and yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is this?
Yeah. So they have so basically these people, use a VPN and then send in tips to like a secure site that they have. And so I guess, the FBI must believe that those two are the same, from the same people.
It's commonly known that people can get messages to you this way, a way in which they don't have to reveal their name, their email address.
It's a system that we use, and we've had it on our website for years. What I'll say is that it's usually not used in this way.
But anyways, you guys, we're getting near the end of the month. If you guys have the ability to help support the channel, you can see just by watching, we've had a really slow night yet again. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, getting close to the end of the month, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Right? I mean, usually people do want us to be able to contact them. Hey, I have a news tip for you. Please call me at this number or email me back at this address. And then we say, oh, okay, here, would you like to talk to us about your news tip? So it's not usually an issue, but yes, that is the case, is that you can fill out the form however you'd like. In fact, some people do send in anonymous news tips, and I couldn't tell you why, but that may be one of the reasons why our system works that way, so that a person could send in an anonymous news tip. But then, like I said, it depends upon if they leave a way that we can then contact them back.
So that is the news director of KOLD. I think it now makes a little bit more sense looking at her comments. It feels like it's in line with this reporting of an apology for an inadvertent death.
I don't know. Where's the apology part? Did she say that? I don't remember her saying that.
New message is the KOLD News Director, Jessica
let me hear the first part of that
Bobula.
again.
Jessica, thanks so much for coming on. You've read this new message. First of all, did it provide any proof of life that the family's been asking for?
No, it did not.
Did it say anything at all about Nancy's condition?
I can't go into those details.
But
So yes, she's buried in the ground. That's in the earth.
clearly the FBI is now swarming Nancy's house, especially in the backyard
Thanks, 6
area.
kids.
Was there anything in this newest message that would direct FBI to go look or find something?
We're not releasing details of what is contained in the email out of respect for the family, other than what you saw in Mary's social post, which actually the reporter also mentioned as well about the IP address.
But the key is we just saw that video from Cameron Guthrie last.
Yeah. So where's the apology in that one? I'm not sure what she's. I don't get it. Okay, then this is back at the beginning when she was on with.
Now, what's your read on this?
Well, initially they said it was the note we got where there was an apology, and the note we got, there was no apology. And they said she was alive. Apparently, we know that a local station in Tucson got a second note.
Actually, I don't know when this interview here.
And ABC is reporting that in that note they said that she was dead. And that note was sent on February 6th.
Right. I don't think the one that whatever Howard Blum is talking about, I think you can rule that out. Okay. I think what we're hearing from Brian Enton, and a little bit like what he's even saying right here is the reality.
So we are not privy to that. The email they got. We never have been, and they hadn't ever really released it until.
So this must be from just recently too.
ABC came out today.
So I don't know when Ashley started saying that she always thought what that interview meant.
I will just take it at face value that at that point they said she was dead. It aligns with what this guy had been sending us, saying initially she was alive and he knew who the kidnappers were and where Nancy was. And at a point he said, time is no longer an issue.
Yeah, see how we have 62 votes, and that means it's full of trolls in here. They just watched the show, but thank you for the views. I appreciate it. Thanks for helping me out. Isn't that lame? You can't even hit the like button. They're just losers. It's just.
That was weird. I always thought, like, you got the first note saying time is of the essence, then another note days later saying time's no longer of the essence. And you're saying that the timing does kind of feel like it might line up with the fact that, well, it's now been conveyed to the family that Nancy's no longer alive.
Yeah, I mean, look, it looks to me that if you remember that when Savannah, the weekend after, had posted something that everybody was kind of curious about, where it almost sounded like she might not be alive, that Savannah knew something. That was on the heels of this second ransom note. So it does kind of make sense that that second ransom note, which authorities believe to be true and aligned with the first one in terms of who sent it,
See, that's before the Instagram right there.
They were under the impression that Nancy had died.
I remember hearing that and thinking, I'm going to paraphrase it.
I know, that's what I keep trying to tell everybody. None of us in here haven't known that that's what that said. Just using logic, reason, and common sense based on how Savannah Guthrie read the, how she spoke in her Instagram post. that it was really obvious that they believe now that their mother is dead. We've said that since February, I don't know, maybe 7th or 8th when I don't know if it was when I got back from my trip or if I said it while I was there, because I did a couple shows while I was on a trip, golfing trip. And so, I think I did it on the show on the trip. All right, but it's just really obvious. So it's strange. Again, we're having one of these moments again in the case where everybody is sitting around pretending it's new information again. Just because somehow somebody's being told that, oh my God, they were told that she's not alive, and it was obvious. I mean, you'd almost have to be brain dead to not have seen what she was saying in that.
I think Savannah said in her overture, we received your message and we understand. It's important for us to get our mother back so that we can celebrate with her, and we will pay. I always took that to mean it sounds as though they've gotten a message.
Yeah, well, everybody's saying that now, you know what I mean?
That they need to celebrate with Nancy in terms of a celebration of life, not necessarily so that we can see her again, we can be with her again.
That's the way I understood it as well.
Yeah.
And I know that there's people out there when they heard that thought the similar thing. Some of these guys, like, I think he said something like that at one point. It is crazy though. Like, we were talking about this on like February 6th or 7th, whenever the hell this came out.
At first it was Howard Blum, I think, who reported this in airmail, that there was this apology. Again, we had all heard this long ago. Nobody went with it.
Right, but nobody is still going with apology except Howard Blum.
And now, are you saying that ABC independently is reporting this, or they're reporting what Howard Blum has put out?
Yeah.
ABC.
So this must be like right now. This must be an interview from today or yesterday.
I believe that the station that got the second ransom note was an ABC affiliate. And ABC came out today, I believe, and said that the second note said she was no longer alive. So that's as much as I know right now. But, it does seem, and again, I'm really looking at this guy who had been sending us notes saying, I know where she is, that it did feel that way to me, that she died days after she was kidnapped. And it kind of makes sense with all her health problems, the fact that she didn't have her meds, that it doesn't mean somebody even took her life. She may have just died because she had so many health problems.
I've got to be honest, Harvey, in the business that we're in, we go through a lot of scenarios. We game them out. We see what fits with evidence we know of, what's possible given evidence we don't know. And in this particular case, everything in her home was undisturbed, except for those blood droplets leading out the door. Inside the door, our source says, and outside front door. And I often wondered if maybe something happened right then and there that night, and that whoever did this and botched it, if Mrs. Guthrie died right then on the spot, still thought they might be able to get whatever ransom they wanted for those first few days.
I mean, it's possible. The note we got, which was days after she was kidnapped, said she was safe. She was scared but safe. So if you take the kidnappers at their word, and you may or may not do that, they seem to indicate she.
Yeah, I think she was alive when she went down the driveway. That's I think the kidnapper intentionally had her alive because it's a hell of a lot easier to get somebody, carry somebody, or move them if they're alive, and just a threat of a gunshot or something like that. And she had a bloody nose probably for some reason. Don't know. People can invent that they know, but we don't know why she has a bloody nose. We have no idea at all. All we know is that we're fortunate to know. I mean, it sounds weird to say, but in some way, we're fortunate that she had a bloody nose, because now you know that she was alive as she was exiting the home, because she actually coughed up with expirated blood right there at the front door. Something that, again, we noticed first on this channel before anybody else in the entire true crime hemisphere, if you can believe that. Yeah, so you had the expirated blood, she's alive, and then there's a droplet Fox News found that was further down the path, and therefore Nancy made it down the path to an awaiting car. And that's the only reason that the camera was removed from the front door, was because eventually a car was going to pull up there and they were going to put her in the vehicle. You know, and I think it's just one person. However, I can't rule out that maybe somebody else was driving a vehicle and they pulled it up. Maybe they used the walkie-talkie, said, hey, I'm ready to take her out right now. Individually, he could have done the same thing by tying her up in the house, going back out, retrieving the car, pulling it up, going in and out the front door now because he's already been inside and would have unlocked the front door to exit to get the car and then come back in because now there's no camera that would have filmed any of that.
She was alive, so that whatever those blood droppings were, that didn't mean that there was a fatal incident.
Right.
That, look, I don't know, but just everything I've pieced together, I think she was alive for several days before she died.
I'm also very curious about the length of time.
Well, I don't know how you can say that you think she was alive for several days, and there's nothing you have that you could have pieced anything together that you would be able to say that, okay? You can say that you believe that she was alive as she exited the home and got put into a car. You can't say that that you've pieced something together and think she was alive 3 days. Okay? Can anybody explain what piece of information could he have that he could say that she was alive for 3 days? Because there was a ransom note that said she was alive? You know, is that where you're piecing it together because a ransom note came in? I don't know.
It took for the kidnappers, if she was alive, to actually make their outreach. I mean, kidnapping is a serious business. It is a real business with real, syndicates who conduct this business. They are in the business of making money and not making waves. And yet it took at least 48 hours before any overture came out. And it didn't go just to Savannah, which would be an email that you could track. It went to the media, which I've always found to be so much the antithesis of the way they usually conduct business.
I mean, I guess if you want to say that the notes had proof of life and he's just not telling us,
Well, it happened with the Zodiac Killer, where they went to the San Francisco Chronicle, so it's not unprecedented. I believe the Unabomber did the same thing. So it isn't unprecedented. What happened was they sent it to a couple of local stations initially, and then shortly thereafter sent it to us, the first one. Almost like they wanted this to get out, but they didn't want this thing. I don't know. They didn't want it traced, and I don't know why they would think that it was more foolproof for them to send it to us than Savannah, but they did. But look, I mean, I will tell you this.
Yeah, but they sent the first one he got, right? It's sort of interesting, right? So if you think back with the nut job theory, you have this guy that is just a psycho. I sort of picture him like an arsonist who sets a fire. He watches the media, goes back out, watches what's happening, and gets a thrill out of that. So it's interesting that the first ransom notes were not only sent to a news station, but also sent to TMZ, right? Because why did you send it to TMZ that time? Because now you're looking for the thrill, the excitement of the media coverage, but then when Nancy's not alive, So I mean, I guess if you want to make the argument what he just said, that the fact that the first ransom note shows that she was alive, and the second one was more about, hey, she's not alive anymore, but we buried her. Maybe there is a few days there where you could guess that she was alive, but she may have died right after they wrote the first ransom note. But I think it's interesting to note that the first ransom note was sent to the news and TMZ, right? And so if that's the reality of it, that means they were looking for maximum exposure, etc. But then when it turns out that they can't prove she's alive, they only send it to the news outlet because Now they're not as excited about it anymore. They're more sort of like they feel something. Like they didn't want her to die, perhaps. I mean, I've always thought, like the nut job theory that she was never going to be alive, and then he was going to kill her, and that's what the whole point of it was. The theory with the ransom gone wrong, of course they would want her alive because they would be sending her back for the money. But if she passed away, then they might feel bad about that. But at the same time, you might ask yourself too, why did they even bother sending a second one? That means they felt something for them, right? Like they felt something, they needed to say something, because why bother even risking sending something out and having another chance by the FBI to track you down? You know what I'm saying? Like, why bother doing that? And so, because, like, let's say she dies and a ransom gone wrong, wouldn't you just bury her body somewhere and never communicate again? Because you don't want them to track you. But in this case, they literally sent another one in through that same email or the tip line. So it's sort of interesting, isn't it? I think that's really something that we should think about a little bit. That element right there is, why would you even bother sending the second one? And then they go back to the nut job theory. It's all part of what they're doing. They first wanted to make it look like, oh, it's a ransom, but she was already dead anyways. They were never going to get it. And then they're just sort of having, see, I don't really understand. Why not send it to TMZ the second time too? Yeah, we've already talked about the life insurance thing 100,000 times on here. We thought about the, killing for inheritance, that kind of thing, and it just doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense, and the answer always is because you'd need a body to get paid out unless a judge declared her dead or something. That's it. So we've literally talked about that probably, 300-400 times. Let's see. Yeah, but he didn't get a thrill on the second one, though. See, that's the thing. See, he wanted the first time, he sends it to both because he wants the thrill. But then on the second note, when he's apologizing, and it's not really apologizing, he's just letting them know that, they didn't intend to. It's sort of a, passive apology. It's like, hey, we didn't intend to kill her or anything like that, but we did bury her in nature, and, so you can have comfort in that, okay? Something like that. And then you sort of might think to yourself, well, why would somebody think like that? Is that somebody that was obsessed at some point? It is weird, right? Because the first one, you're just looking for the reaction. You're getting it, oh, it's great. And then maybe somebody, what's interesting is that the FBI are not stupid, okay? So they may have had them word things precisely to elicit a response like that, hoping to get in the response, be able to track them again. But they don't appear to be able to. Maybe they have been able to, and we aren't aware yet. So. All right, you guys, how do we get the support, the super chats and everything moving along tonight? We try to reach goals every single night, and this month we didn't reach it last night, or just barely at the end there. And then tonight we're just struggling around at about 25% of the nightly goal. I tried to do another show earlier today to augment it, and we're just still struggling. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel in some way, gift some channel memberships, super chats, that would be great. Nobody's required to do anything. I am merely talking to the people who want to and have the ability to. That would be awesome. We're honing in on $300,000 out of the channel's income given to true crime related charities. Hopefully we can try to get to the $300,000 mark this month, but I need your guys' help to do that. So we just keep getting in these slow ruts for no apparent reason whatsoever. All right, let me play this.
Take 48 hours.
I feel like I'm still doing the same good shows. You know what I mean?
I talked to the FBI about that at some point, and they believe that if she was in Mexico, they didn't take her immediately. That they had.
But see, 123 Rockchild, it's almost as if you weren't paying attention. I just explained to you. How would he get a thrill out of that when he wasn't telling the family? He sent it to a tip line to one news outlet.
Checked a lot of the surveillance cameras, and they didn't see suspicious activity that night. So that they thought if it did happen, it would have happened at some point later. So if you want to connect the dots, it may be that they didn't want to reach out until they were across the border. So that's a possible scenario.
What do you mean connect the dots? There's no dots connecting. You're just guessing something. There's no dot that you're connecting to.
And there's so much looking back on these first critical days, right? And with what
No, Jason, that's not what she's saying.
we're starting to hear from inside sources about,
He didn't talk to the family. He sent the letter to just the news outlet, the second one.
really inexperienced homicide detectives, a very egotistical sheriff, that those critical.
And, he wouldn't have known. I don't know. I just think that's like a reach to try to sit there and try to make a correlation. That, he sent the letter to the news outlet knowing he'd get back to the family and then he'd relish in their new video that they come out. I don't know. It's just
Hours and days were botched. And I don't know if that meant that there was an effort to look over the border because, as you know, in the early offings, nobody seemed to even know if anyone in Sonora State had been contacted.
Who are you talking about? Why do you think it was a woman caregiver? Who are you talking to?
The FBI had some indication maybe, but then the locals didn't know. And it just seemed like one big hot mess.
Yeah, I think it was a big hot mess, and I think the FBI was not particularly pleased that there was such a delay because you're right. I mean, look, everybody in law enforcement says the first 48 hours are critical, but when you are that close to the Mexican border, I think it's especially critical because it is so much harder to deal with this if this goes international. And if the FBI was right that if they did take her to Mexico, they didn't do it immediately, there would have been a much better window for them had they been contacted.
Now, see, he's trying to make it seem like the other person who sent ransom notes later is like the ones that he got that was in Mexico, the $100,000 Bitcoin thing. He wants those to be the reality. So, he's going with Mexico. Although, what else are you going to do with a body? Other than bury it, really, right? I mean, that's what people do. They bury, they go out in the desert somewhere, they dig a hole, they bury a body, never to be found again. So when they say it was buried in nature, well, of course it's buried in nature. So while it matches the more recent tips that have come in where, she's buried near the border, well, that's not even really a coincidence. It's just so common. It's basic, of course. So while it seems like there's a connection, doesn't have to be one at all.
Earlier.
Do you think there's anything to the new discussion of wrench attacks, the kind of attack?
Yeah, I'm sure, okay, to go with what 123 Rockchild's saying is, yes, when they got the letter, that's the only secure place they could send it. I'm sure they thought that eventually it would trickle down to the family. I just don't know if that's part of the, the thrill of knowing that, to me it's more like the TMZ part. You put that out there and then you wait to see how the public will react and get excited, and you get a thrill out of it. I don't know what kind of thrill you'd get out of I don't know. It seems different to me. I think it's going a bridge too far a little bit.
Where there's a boss that's international. They employ the junior level.
The only thing that you can really say is, look, he sent the first ransom note that was trying to get money to, and I guess apparently it has the same crypto account. That's why I don't know. It's weird because remember when Harvey would say it's the same crypto account, so I know it's the same. I think he was always talking about a whole different series of notes. I mean, it's weird. I don't even know if he's referring at all, because I remember thinking at the beginning that he was talking about the actual ransom note, the ones that the FBI believe are real, that there was some kind of a crypto wallet number that he was aware of, and they match. Well, he's now saying he never got the second one, so I don't know what in the hell he's talking about, But what you can say is we do know for sure that the ransom note was sent to like KOLD and other news outlets and TMZ. They were looking for maximum exposure in the area, national, et cetera, et cetera. They were really excited about it. And then when they realized that they couldn't show proof of life and she wasn't alive, they send in a letter just to KOLD saying stuff. And we don't get to see what's in it.
Thugs in the locales to go and do their dirty work, and then they literally try to extract.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than when you say, hey, everybody's going to help support the channel, and not a soul jumped in. That's where it's a short night.
Critical passwords from people with the threat of violence. Do you think there's anything to that when it comes to the Guthrie case?
Look, I don't know. The sense I've always gotten was that whoever did this or masterminded it lived in the Tucson area, that they were able to turn on their television.
Yeah, so I agree with stuff like that.
And watch news stations in the Tucson market.
And that might have been why, might make that argument, that maybe that's the reason he just gave it to the local station, because he just wanted more local news about it, I guess. I don't know.
Because that's why they would reach out to two Tucson stations. And it seemed to me that it was either somebody who knew Nancy Guthrie and knew that her daughter was famous and presumably rich, or had heard that Nancy Guthrie was Savannah's mother and they saw a payday. But that's always the way I saw it, that this was not this big international thing. It was somebody in the Tucson area who knew Nancy Guthrie's connection to Savannah and saw dollar signs.
It's been over 140 days now since Nancy Guthrie went missing, and there's been sort of like percolating stories just of late. It went very quiet for a while, and one of the other big stories that, surfaced was this mom's group that looks for missing people south of the border across Nogales got a tip. An anonymous tip that Nancy was buried close to the border. They searched, they had the support of the Mexican authorities, so there had to be some teeth. And they found 12 unmarked graves, this group, but never found Nancy. Do you think there's something to this, given that it's such a long time since Nancy vanished, to having this tip come about?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. Again.
But the tip to me is just, it's almost generic, right? Hey, they're buried in the desert in Mexico. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman.
I've always felt that this was credible, that she was taken across the border. And the person who had been sending us numerous emails saying they knew where she was, that person said she was in Mexico and that the kidnappers were in Mexico. So I don't know. I just know that at least that email, that the emails we were getting, and
Yeah, maybe, Jason. I'm just saying I think it's kind of going a little too far, you know. You know, if you're sitting there saying you put the first one out to get the maximum exposure, and then to have this little tiny little message just to get the small little delight from watching a TikTok video, I don't know. Just seems different, like a different type at that point.
there was something about this guy who was sending them that I believed that that she was in Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's so difficult and there's just so many horrible players all over the world at this point who have access to public information and have access to doing whatever ill will through Bitcoin they want. Early on, you were very involved with the FBI in that account, and I think you said that the FBI actually put some money, I think $260, into the Bitcoin account just to tickle the wire a little. What ended up happening from that?
Nothing. They thought maybe they could get a hit, and they couldn't.
Nothing at all. And then what about the guy who kept reaching out to you saying, I have the information, I am, tangentially connected to the players who did this, and I have information, but I'm too afraid to go public. I know that you were like playing chess with his checkers when you said, fine, we'll get the $1 million reward for you, and we'll ensure you get paid, and we'll keep you anonymous. Did he ever take the bait?
No, he never gave us the information, but he kept contacting us. And I always felt this guy knew something, because it felt like he knew these kidnappers. And all of the emails, when you read them, I mean, he was scared. He thought they might try to implicate him. The authorities might. He said the reason he wanted money was so he could go underground, because he was afraid of retribution.
Yeah. So maybe Harvey's got a connection with somebody who's like, the emails he was getting was somebody that was aware of the actual kidnappers.
Retribution. And so I know the FBI took that seriously.
Or kidnapper, whatever it is, I mean, it could be that there's one, like I said before, somebody driving the vehicle.
And they spent time with my IT team trying to track him down, and they couldn't. And I find that really interesting, that they couldn't track the kidnappers down from that first ransom note, and they believed that was real. And they couldn't track this guy down either. And, the FBI is really good, and they put...
Yeah, that is pretty interesting, that the secondary person that he was talking to, they couldn't track either.
Put 5 people on it at one point at the same time with our IT team. And I think it's interesting that that guy, as well as the kidnappers, went undetected. And so, about a month ago, I called the FBI guy that I had been dealing with back, and he's always been responsive. And I said, look, if we do a documentary, what if we pay him that money, and we'll see where it leads. We don't want to do anything that's going to compromise your investigation, but let us know if you want us to do that. For whatever reason, you've been reluctant, even though you've been interested in who he is. So, and they said, well, that's interesting. And then
I don't really even understand the idea. What somehow you're going to say, listen, we're just doing a documentary, man. We'll keep you anonymous. We're going to send some reporters out. I mean, come on. Who in the hell would do that? There's not a soul that would do that. I think it's just like the FBI went, they probably laughed after that. It just doesn't even make any sense.
He ghosted me. And up until that point,
well, of course they ghosted you, because you came up with an idea that was so ludicrous.
Always call me back, and I've called him a half dozen times.
Yeah, I can have him silhouetted in dark with his voice going, it'll sound like, let's see if I can do that. Hold on a second. Where is this? Is this it? Testing 1, 2, 3. I don't even know how to set this up anymore. Right there, maybe?
Testing. Oh, there you
go. Hi, I'm so-and-so at the border. Let me test, I know where everything is. I saw these guys, they took her over the border, and so, I was looking at them, and then they saw that I saw them, and then they got angry at me, and so I'm scared.
Yeah, alright. Makes sense, huh?
since that call a month ago, and he's never returned my phone call, and he's been the liaison for us.
I mean, that's huge. The idea of doing this doc, paying this guy, waiting to see what happens, it seems like that would be the most action that anyone has really taken in terms of the overtures that have been made. Pay me and I'll give you something.
Right, but he's not going to want to, reveal who he is and meet somebody.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything unless the FBI says it's okay, because the last thing we want to do is interfere. But it's always kind of felt that way to me. And he said something weird to me at one point. He said, yeah, we're looking at that too. Because I had mentioned that I kind of believe that guy. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So he's still on your radar? Because I was also told at the same time, the case has gone cold. So, look, I don't know. It's really confusing to me. I just find it really interesting that this person who is always, over the months, has been incredibly responsive. It is unlike him to ghost us this way.
Right. Well, we got information that the task force.
I thought the FBI ghosted you, not the guy.
At one time, there were hundreds of people working this case, from the FBI to the local law enforcement agencies, and they had all descended upon the Tucson area. And we got information just today that says the number of Pima County homicide detectives that are on the case is still a half dozen, and it had been reduced to a half dozen 2 months ago. As far as FBI, we don't know, but we do know that they are still working out of the FBI building. So they're very, very sequestered, meaning they're kind of a vault. But at this point, do you have a good feel for this case actually ever being solved?
Yeah, I mean, I had several discussions, especially with the person I just mentioned from the FBI. And gosh, this was 3 months ago, two and a half, 3 months ago. He said to me, look, the way this case is going to be solved is some guy is going to go to a bar and start bragging about this, bullshit. And one thing's going to lead to another. And
I don't, that's just so cliche. Forget it. Let's see. Then there's this other one from Megyn Kelly, actually did one today.
I wonder, because that jumped out at me. That's not really how people talk. And then even like she perished? Was that word used? I wonder, because that's...
Yeah, see, the problem is that's why we need to see the letter ourselves, right? Because we're hearing somebody say what they remember it said. Like when Brian Enton talked to somebody that is I don't know, an insider in the case or something. I mean, is he really giving you verbatim information? So we're all writing down when Enton's reading the quote, he's literally only quoting the person who told him what was said. And so he may be the one that misrepresented, might have said, Nancy is with nature now. That might be what the statement really was originally, and that makes sense, right? Not buried in whatever the hell the term was. They could have said anything else, and we just don't know now because we don't get to see the letter. It would be great if a news outlet would take those precise quotes and put them out there after reading it themselves. Just at least to sort of clarify what was said.
That jumped out at me. That's not really how people talk. And then nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome.
Like, don't blame yourself.
Like the weird...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just very conciliatory and very strange, considering the facts of this investigation, of this case, of this poor woman, to talk this way. Any self-respecting criminal would at least be a little more honest about what happened here. They're trying to soften what they did, and please don't blame yourself. I hope you're not being too hard on yourself. It's so weird.
Well, because, if you're following their logic, they had said in the original note on February 2nd, and again, Sunday was the 1st, give us $4 million by Thursday or else. Again, using the term actual or else. And now here we are, they haven't paid, and they're writing the note saying, she's gone. Oh, and by the way, there was nothing that you could have done to have changed the outcome. So they seem to be saying, you didn't give us our $4 million, but don't worry, she was dead anyway. Even if you'd given us the money, it wouldn't have panned out for you. But if you want to give us money anyway, we could get the body back to you, I guess. Or at least maybe that's just still lurking out there. It's implied. It's not clear. In Brianna's description of it, no one's talking about, but that original, because the original note we know, James said, 4 million by Thursday, 6 million by the following Monday. If you wait, it's going to cost you more.
Right.
Then comes the second note. Like, why would they send the second note? Like, hey, FYI, she died. And don't blame yourself. Like, what's the point of that?
Well, it looks like they also didn't give any.
Sounds like they're saying the sort of similar to what I was just saying. Let me hear that again.
Any self-respecting criminal would at least be a little more honest about what happened here. They're trying to soften what they did.
I don't know. That's what a weird comment.
And please don't blame yourself.
Any
I hope you're not being too hard on
self-respecting
yourself.
criminal.
It's so weird.
See, but who's saying that? See, are they using the Blum theory in this one?
Well, because, I mean, if you're following their logic, they had said in the original note on February 2nd, and again, Sunday was the 1st, give us $4 million by Thursday or else. Again, using the term actual or else. And now here we are, they haven't paid, and they're writing the note saying she's gone. Oh, and by the way, there was nothing that you could have done to have changed the outcome. So they seem to be saying,
Okay, that seemed like
you didn't give us our $4 million, but don't worry, she was dead anyway. Even if you'd given us the money, it wouldn't have panned out for you. But if you want to give us money anyway, we could get the body back to you, I guess.
Yeah, but see, but that's the thing. That's in the Blum one. Enton never said that. That would be considered a ransom note. If they said, hey, we'll give you the body back for more money. That's a ransom note.
Yes. Or at least maybe that's just still lurking out there. It's implied. It's not clear. In Brianna's description of it, no one's talking about, but that original, because the original note we know, James said, 4 million.
Hello, Karen.
Million by Thursday, 6 million by the following Monday. If you wait, it's going to cost you more.
Right.
Then comes the second note. Like, why would they send the second note? Like, hey, FYI, she died. And don't blame yourself. Like, what's the point of that?
Well, it looks like they also didn't give any real particulars on how to get that 4 million to them. It doesn't sound like there was any clear communication given. This is how you would respond to me, get back to me, and then they're just double tapping. Hey, by the way, it's not worth it now because she's gone, and we're sorry, but you can still give me some money because I get the body back to you. But I think you and Maureen are nailing a couple of really important things. If true, that she's with nature instead of saying she's gone with God. I mean, if you're following the case, that that Nancy was a believer, and so that would track with her. This note person saying it was a heart condition, which would track with if you're following the case, about the pacemaker. But saying that she is buried with nature is interesting. That needs to be looked into, and there's plenty of people who are really smart and can put words together and study language and really good context of a statement like.
Yes, I told you guys yesterday. The wording is interesting. If that's really what was said, we're just basing it on hearsay, like to the second degree, even. It's like somebody else said something to somebody, and then somebody said something to somebody, and then all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that's the exact quote.
Like that, is that said in certain parts of the world? And certainly I hope the FBI is looking into something like that, because that's just a very interesting phrase. And then what you had said earlier, Megan, about we didn't realize the extent of her condition. It kind of drew me to one of the two things, which is I thought initially that there was some pre-operational surveillance, meaning they looked at the house and maybe even looked at her, and then whether or not that was because she was Savannah's mother, or
although they did say we weren't aware of her condition. If that is what they said, that means that they were aware of her, just not that condition. It's almost like, why would you say that unless there was something? It seems like you had some awareness. So maybe they did watcher.
Because it's in line with this nice house, nice theory. We were talking earlier about, a crime gang hitting these nice houses, but still both would speak to pre-operational surveillance. And maybe that's what she's.
I don't know if it necessarily speaks to pre-operational surveillance.
The note writer is alluding to.
They're just saying, wow, we weren't even aware. We weren't aware of that.
Is when we looked at it, we didn't realize she was that, kind of old or fragile. And I thought that
Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Is there anybody else out there tonight that would like to help support the Gray Hughes Investigates YouTube channel? That would be fantastic.
It was very interesting.
There's reaction today from Savannah herself, who did address this on the Today Show this morning. It's like you kind of forget that she's back doing her job without any resolution in this case, which, she has to do. We all have a job to do. She has a job to do. But then this story is in the news again, and she, felt the need to respond for obvious reasons.
Bravery and courage with which you have done this job every day since that happened. Nothing short of remarkable.
Wow.
Nothing short of remarkable.
I love you guys, and I love this place, and this is unusual and unprecedented, to say the least, to be sitting here. But, I don't have any comment on the story, and I'm not involved in our
Well, she already knows all this, so it's not new to her.
coverage.
It's not new at all, so there'd be no reason to have a comment on it.
But I can't pretend I'm not here. And so since I am, I wanted to just take the opportunity to ask people to beg people.
Okay.
Somebody knows something.
Yeah.
And this is a new story today that is on your radar, but this is the life that my sister lives, that I live, that my brother lives, that our extended family.
I wish she had mentioned the reward too, because it's like somebody that the reward actually could motivate somebody to come forward.
Yeah, rewards almost never work.
And that is something we should discuss, because Howard's reporting, and I know Howard Blum, he's very solid. No, he's not. No, he's not. I don't know how he.
You know how you know he's not solid? Because that's my opinion. Because I know the facts of the Idaho 4 case, and his book was so filled with errors and stuff that wasn't reality that's when you know, right? But when you don't know, you don't know. So a lot of times you'll watch some other YouTube channel and they'll start telling you all this crap and you'll go, wow, that's so amazing. That's because you don't know the case, right? But if you are somebody that knows a case and then you hear them say that, you'll probably never believe them again because of how wrong they were on something that you knew about. All right? And so that's just the way it works. I mean, it's amazing how much is like that. But there's just so many misinformed and naive people on YouTube that watch true crime videos that they think that what they're being told by the person is some sort of a reality. So on this channel, all we do is go use the facts of the case, work through it, and we speculate reasonably and rationally on the information that we're given, and you're likely going to be right in the ballpark of what happened. When you're sitting there listening to wild, crazy speculators, it's not going to work.
He gets the information he gets, but he gets really good exclusives. And
you'll all be disappointed at some point when you watch and you go, like people that knew the Idaho case from watching my channel, then you go over and watch, and my channel goes over the factual elements of the case. And then you go over and watch somebody else, you would know that they're just spitting out absolute garbage. And then you realize, wow, all those other cases that I listened to them on, were they telling the truth then? It's hard to know.
His reporting is that this task force that we've all discussed before, that's what remains on the investigatory team now. And it's a combo of FBI and Tucson cops. Detectives, that the task force has expressed some regret, from the sound of it, about not paying the ransom. That if they had just paid, if the FBI had agreed to pay the ransom, or tell Savannah to pay the ransom, that $4 million in the beginning, that the FBI really feels confident in its ability to track the Bitcoin, James. It's Bitcoin. So it's not just cashing a check. It's going to be a lot harder to track it. But that at some point, the Bitcoin has to be withdrawn, or does the kidnapper?
Yeah, but they already know all this stuff. That's why I don't even think it.
It's because protocol. I mean, we got to remember that
I don't think. I mean, that's why it doesn't even seem like the person was ever going to try to get money.
I just don't understand, Maureen, what kind of a kidnapper? If you go with this is the kidnapper, what is the point? What is the point of on Thursday after they've missed the deadline, sending a follow-up saying...
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly what I said earlier.
She's dead.
I haven't watched this. I just downloaded
She's
the
dead
video
now.
and played
We didn't intend to hurt her. It's not your fault. We think it was the heart. Nothing you could have done. What is the point?
The point is they're amateurs. And they...
Yeah, see, she always has some weird shit like that. It's like,
and
it a little bit better.
And I have to first go back for a minute, if I could, to James, because if, in fact, they did pay the ransom without any proof of life, what precedent does that set for every other person who's kidnapped? Everyone's going to jump out of the woodwork even more than they do right now, because you saw...
Hey, thanks, Rebecca Khan. Remember that? The Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. I know it's spelled differently, but I'm sure it means Connecticut, right? Let's see. Thank you. Appreciate it. Wow, somebody actually sent a super chat in. It's been a cold night.
On this part of the home. That's our proof that we have her and we were there. Does that qualify? That's more than saying nothing.
Sure, but it's not enough to say
no.
that she's not dead. I mean, if you just consider how they transported her or how they had to transport her. So she's bleeding from presumably her mouth, which they already know by now because they've tested that blood to see if saliva was in it or whatever on the front porch. So she's bleeding from her mouth. She's 84 years old. She has no medication with her.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this lady seems like she's nice, but every time I listen, I get frustrated. I don't know. All right. Well, it sounds like there's a little bit of confusion out there in terms of who has what, Like, is there Blum has something, and then Brian Enton had something. They seem like they overlap a little bit, but they're not the same thing. So I'm not really sure. Everyone keeps reporting on Blum's information because it's more sensationalistic. What do you mean what are you talking about, Jason? What piece are you talking about? I don't see her refer to anything up there about that at all. What Savannah piece are you talking about? The one that we just watched a little bit of? Right. It's always a little... it's like different on every report. Seems like it adds a little something different. A great deal of embellishment concerning the notes. It does. Yeah, we think it's like a nut job. They just did it for the the coverage, and like I said before. But the number one theory that makes everything work is that this is just a crazy nut job who picked her because she's famous, and maybe has a little bit of something regarding Savannah. Who the hell knows? But abducted Savannah's mother and was going to kill her no matter what. But he wanted her alive, getting out of there to get her out. And maybe he's a lone actor. Could be that there's another person, don't know. driving the vehicle, but we've only have evidence of one person. So the walkie-talkie, if you can verify that that's a walkie-talkie in his pocket, that would be an indication that there's another person. There'd be no reason to carry one around unless there was another person, and that would make sense that you would call another person to move the car around right when you're ready to take Nancy out of the house to avoid having the car parked in front of the house for a prolonged period of time. Thank you, Whiskey Boots, for your mother's 81st birthday. All right, well, tell your mother happy birthday. But thanks for supporting my channel on your mother's birthday. I don't see the part that you guys are talking about. Yeah, we don't know what I don't know what Jason's referring to when he said he saw the piece by... are you talking about the new Savannah piece? What are you referring to? Does she post something on Instagram? I don't see it. Yeah, there it is. Savannah Guthrie Instagram. Let me see. So now we're taking time looking up something because there's no response. Where's the new plea? In the video that we were watching? Just a few minutes ago, or what? I don't know what you're referring to. Is this today thing? 14 hours, this thing? Let's see.
Since that happened, nothing short of remarkable.
Wow.
Nothing short of remarkable.
I love you guys, and I love this place, and this is unusual and unprecedented, to say the least, to be sitting here. But, you know, I don't have any comment on the story, and I'm not involved in our coverage, but I can't pretend I'm not here. And so since I am, I wanted to just take the opportunity to ask people, to beg people to come forward. Somebody knows something.
What do you mean? I just don't understand what you're saying up there. You said, I saw the new Savannah piece. Who first reported that? Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. You're asking a question. I saw the new Savannah piece. Who first reported that new buried with nature phrasing? I thought it was Brian Enton who reported that first. The other stuff was the Howard Blum.
And this is a new story today that is on your radar, but this is the life that my sister lives, that I live, that my brother lives, that our extended families live, that our children live every day. And we are in agony. And we cannot be at peace.
Cool.
So no matter how much I try to come out here every day and smile and find that joy, and I will, I promise I will. This is a moment to tell you that we need your help. We're begging for your help. And I'm not going to miss that opportunity. And so please, if you're watching,
Yes.
no matter how small, the reward is there. You can tell us. It can be anonymous. Please do the right thing for us, for our family, for our children. And we love our mom, and we'll never stop looking for her. Never.
To your point, if you have any information, if you're watching, if you're listening, if you have any information at all that could help investigators and could help this family find just a modicum of peace, the phone number's right there on your screen. 1-800.
Yeah, I didn't hear her say who said it first. You know, I didn't hear anybody on there say who said those phrases first. We're doing terribly on the goal. We're at 35%. Yeah, I've been mentioning it throughout the show, and it has no effect on anybody. We're just still struggling along. Don't know what else I can say.
Bravery and courage with which you have done this job every day since that happened. Nothing short of remarkable.
Wow.
Nothing short of remarkable.
I love you guys, and I love this place.
Yeah, I didn't hear her say that in there. Yeah, so when you look at this case, let's go down here. You know, I mean, we've gone over the timeline so many times. It's, you know, it's crazy. Like how many times we've gone over this thing. But, you know, as you know, I think it was like, I mean, I guess I could go pull it up because it's always sitting right here. We'll just start at the 9:48. You know, if you look at it like a nut job, like this person's just a crazy person who is going to abduct Nancy Guthrie. That is why they are there. There's no other reason that they're at the house. They are going to abduct Nancy Guthrie. That is what they're doing. Okay? And so, you know, we know that Nancy was over at her daughter's house, you know, left her house at 5:32 and then got there at probably 5:42 and then hung out there, and then at 9:48 was driven back home by Tommaso, and believe it or not, this one 360 degree has the garage open on it. Came over, probably pulled the car up right there, got out, opened the door, walked over, and went to the door, which is right there inside the home, or right here, actually, right there. There's a table right here. That's the mahjong table inside the home, and there's a door right there, and you can see it in some of the images from outside. You just walk in, and then she makes it into the house, and then he turns around, comes back out, and leaves at 9:50, shutting the door. Then after that, hours later, at 1:47, and you know that Nancy Guthrie is sleeping right now. She's probably in bed, has her watch, her phone, and everything right next to the bed. And then she goes to sleep. And she's sleeping. And her heart monitor is monitoring her heart on her Bluetooth device. And then at 1:47 in the evening, quietly, somebody came to the front door. And we've seen that in the videos. You know, if you go to right here, this person right here, this is right around 1:47. As a matter of fact, I think this right here is like 1:46, and then he pulls it off at 1:47, whatever. That's when the camera was disabled and removed from the front of the house. Now, the reason it was disabled and removed from the front of the house is because eventually a car is going to be pulling up right into this spot right here. Right, as a matter of fact, they're going to park it right there, and that camera looks and can see the car perfectly. They can tell that it's filming out and would see it. So the car parks right there. That's where it's going to be parked. So at 1:47, he removes it. Now, any smart person would realize that, oh my God, I've just activated, I'm wearing a balaclava, I just activated a motion on that camera. I could see it running, and I'm removing it. I'm not nervous that they're going to recognize me here. But, man, somebody might have been notified. So I'm going to go walk away for 15, 20 minutes or so and wait and see if anybody was notified. Do I see any lights turn on in the house? Do I see any cars driving up? Do I see anything at all that looks like somebody was alerted to me being in that front porch area? And then after realizing that nobody showed up at all, so about 20 minutes later, would make it about 2:07 or so, that's when the person could have, and let's just say originally parked the car right over here, and they just sort of waited in the woods back here, watching, monitoring the home. Then they go inside start heading over there, like, 2:07, 8, 9, whatever. And then you jump over the wall there, and then at 2:12, software detects a person on camera. There's no video and no subscription. And that's why it's not stored. Okay, there's no video because there's no subscription. Here is the camera, that little nodule that sticks out. That's the solar panel, that darkness there. There's also the same situation right here. So it's either one of those two cameras. I think it's this back one here, where he jumps over, and then it could also be that he came over the wall there, and this camera did not get activated, but when let's just say his first move was to open this gate over here, that camera may have picked him up at 2:12, picked up a human, don't know. But then he also unlocked, or not unlocked, but propped open a door that is right here underneath that little deck area there. So he propped open that, he propped open the fence. And let's say at that point, maybe it's 2:13 or something, he goes into the house at this point. And he's in there, and we don't know how long he's in there, but we know that the moment that he confronts Nancy Guthrie, that is going to have a specific time, because that'll show up on the heart monitor as her pacemaker probably just absolutely went nuts because she's freaked out looking at some weirdo in the house wearing a balaclava. All right? So you have that. And then, let me see if I have some of those pictures. I don't know if I have those sitting right here. I don't think I have them right there. But, that's going to be, let's say, like 2:15 or so. He confronts her in there, and then he starts tying her up. And I think he tries to make sure, puts duct tape on her, ties her up. And now he can go get his vehicle because she's tied up. And goes out the front door. Now, the front door can be used now to travel. Goes out the front door. The camera's not working. Goes over and gets the vehicle at, let's say, 2... I don't know, let's just like 2:20, he exits the door, goes and gets the vehicle, pulls it back around at 2:23, pulls it up to right there, then gets out, walks inside the home, goes back over, frees Nancy Guthrie's legs, etc., and says, "Hey, I've got a gun on you," and then walks her out the door, and then when her pacemaker that she is wearing loses connection to the device, which is 30 feet, it's 2:28. So 2:28, her pacemaker app shows it disconnects from the phone. So it's the pacemaker app shows disconnects from phone. So I guess there's like an app that shows that her pacemaker disconnected from the device inside the house that monitors her heart rate. So that's going to show the precise time when that happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Gray, no, I've already explained it okay, I'll do it again without trying to be flippant in here. I have covered this. There's no subscription on the front. The cameras work like this. When the camera doesn't have a subscription, you get 3 hours of surveillance footage to watch. Not 3 hours of total video, just a 3-hour window, and it's rolling. It's constantly rolling. So let's say at noon, a dog walks by my camera. Okay, that's on there. And then at 3 o'clock and 1 second, that video is now marked as deleted and can be written over again. All right, but any other video between 12 and 3 would still be on there until 3 hours. It just rolls by. It doesn't store the information. So then it's marked for deletion. And then any other motions might write over a previous video. So they were able to go in, and because there wasn't an extraordinary amount of motions going on, they were able to recover the deleted videos that were out there. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. It's a rolling 3 hours. So if there's only one motion in the 3 hours, that's all there is. It doesn't mean you get to store 3 hours of video. It means that the window of time that you can watch a motion that happened and it's still sitting there as a video is 3 hours. Does that make sense? All right, great. I don't know what you're saying again. All right, I don't know how I can explain it any better than I just did. Did that make sense to everybody? It's a 3 hours rolling time frame that you can watch a video. Then the videos are deleted after the video itself has been available to look at for 3 hours. If there's no motion in those 3 hours, there's no videos to watch. And you're talking about late at night. And so I don't know what other videos that they might possibly have in the backyard. They may have only released what would help identify the person. And that was the closest one that they had. I don't know. All right. But anyways, so, 2:20 or so, 2:20, they leave the home, then they drive back, maybe 2:24, they park, they go inside, they free her legs or whatever, maybe, and then they just walk her out, and, forever, maybe she tried to struggle, and there was a little bump to the face or something. She's on blood thinners. Any little knock to the nose is going to bleed quite a bit. It was in her mouth. She coughed it up on the way out, and then there's blood that goes down the sidewalk, and then that's right where the blood stops because she was put into a vehicle right there, and that's the only reason that they removed the camera was because a car was going to be parked there. They didn't give a damn that they were being filmed because they have a balaclava on. Every single bit of clothing they're wearing is something that they just purchased and never wore before. Nobody's going to recognize them at all. They are not nervous about that. All right, so you got that. And so the person takes them. They intentionally took them. And then if you do the nut job theory, or, just like a psychopath, it's not just a ransom for money is sort of more of a transactional sort of, somebody that just is trying to get some money somehow. All right? And so what I'm saying is that I think this person may be somebody who just did this for the reaction out there. Okay? To see what it felt like, to watch it all happen. And I've told you guys this before. I like to say it again because I think when you think about these weirdos that are out there, it's just crazy. There one case was right around the Delphi case time, about 2017. I could never find it again. But like I've said this before, there was this Asian guy, and there was a camera filming this bathroom at a park, with a little trail that disappeared. And this lady walked down the trail, and all of a sudden that Asian guy started following him. Following her, which normally wouldn't really mean much. But then a little bit later, just the Asian guy came back, and he threw something in the garbage, and then they found that lady dead. And then they caught him because it was sort of easy to catch him. And they asked him, they go, "Why'd you do that?" And he goes, "I don't know. I just wanted to see what it felt like." Isn't that weird? Dude, that's the scariest shit, man. When there's people like that in society that just wanted. They're just, what do you call them? Like sociopathic, crazy people. And I don't know, in this one, they could have just went in there to try to make it look like it was a ransom attempt and then sent the letters to TMZ and the news outlets to get the ball rolling and make it a big story. And they sit around watching it and they get so excited, And then maybe it is what you guys are saying, and they sent the letter to the the secondary letter was sent to I guess you could say because they knew that the family would get it, maybe taunt them a little bit. But if you look at the other angle would be a ransom gone wrong, it makes sense too, and that has a little bit more weight because of just the fact that they said something. Now, you might say that a psycho might say, hey, she died also because maybe, or it could, maybe it was somebody that sort of was infatuated with Savannah and wanted to do all this stuff and then sort of felt bad later. I don't know I don't really think that that's the case. It's kind of interesting just to think about. What are you guys talking about, Wild Bill? Was there a challenge in here that I missed? I didn't see it. Thanks, Wild Bill and Haley and 6 kids. I didn't see one up there. Oh, yeah. Oh, Karen said she'll do a $25 PayPal for the pups for something in equal. So we need 3 more gifted memberships from you guys to help support the channel, and it doubles it up. All right? I know it's been an absolute struggle for me tonight in here to get the support from people, but if you guys have the ability to, that would be awesome. At least we would be able to. And the reason we do this in here is, you know, I don't know. I think once I get the 300,000 that we've given out to charities, I'm going to have to just sort of make it something where I'll donate whatever I can each month. But I push really hard to try to get to the goals every single night, because my channel since January of 2020 has donated $298,000 some odd dollars, and we have a scholarship fund, we have a DNA fund, we have given Texas EquiSearch, Rain, and NCMEC over 100,000 combined. Our DNA fund has had over 115,000 for identifying Jane and John Does. We've identified 6 or 7 unidentified people at this point. We've done a lot. We've done a lot of really cool shit, but it seems like the desire or the ability for people to support the channel for us to keep doing that it sort of wanes. People would rather send their money into people who wildly speculate and come up with crazy conspiracy theories. You know, so it's like I'm just not going to do that. You know, I'm never going to do that. So there you have it. I think it's I don't know. There's a lot of angles that you can think about. The problem with us not having the actual letter, the note, is a big deal. You know, it means that we don't know for certain what was said. So we're sitting here parsing words that are repeated from one person to another person to another person. Right? So that's a little bit problemsome in trying to really kind of figure out what the notes are really saying. But yeah, guys, we need 2 more gifted memberships up there to reach the challenge that was up there. It's almost like nobody heard what I said again. So we have Jim Lawn that made 3. We need 2 more. All right, so should we do you want to do the call-in, Jason, right before your procedure? Not that it's funny that you're doing one, it's just that I said that. There's no letter, Carolyn. You're wrong. All right. If you want to go get a screenshot of it and send it to me, that'd be great, but you're full of crap. I can just tell you. All right, let's see. There's no YouTuber that has the letter. Let's see. Yeah, okay, but let's try to reach the goal before we do the call-ins, you guys. It's going to be stressful on the call-ins. So we have 2 more gifted memberships that we need to reach the challenge that Karen set up. Shouldn't be that difficult. Jeez. All right, there's 1. We need 1 more, you guys. 1 more. All right, there we go. Mike Spam. All right, there we go. All right, let's put the number on the screen. All right, let's give it a shot there, Wild Bill, or anybody else who wants to call in too. All right. I hope it still works. I think it's still plugged in and everything. All right. Thanks, Mike Spam. But yeah, while we're doing this, you guys, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be great. All right. It's just been a really... Oh, your husband Carl may call in, huh? Is it not on the screen? It's right there, Jason. Not sure what we're waiting for. Yeah, so it could be possible that the second note was sort of passively taunting, I guess. It's hard to say.
Call from James, a.k.a. Jason Bourne.
Hello.
Hey.
What's going on?
I'm not doing so well tonight.
Okay, well, let's get this all taken care of by tomorrow, okay? What time is your appointment tomorrow?
I get up there early in the morning, and then it takes place in the afternoon. But I wanted to say a big shout out to the freaks who are saying, like, giving me support and in the chat, and it means a lot because not really looking forward to this. It's kind of one of those types of procedures that you really wouldn't want to graphically explain. But I know you know what I mean, Gray.
Yeah. Might not feel too good to go to the bathroom for a little bit.
Yeah.
Bringing a bowling ball through your that's a little difficult, so
Yeah,
not that they're that
I guess
big.
I guess a woman might say it would be comparable to giving birth, but I wouldn't know since I'm not a woman. So, but
right.
But anyway, the Guthrie Ransom Notes. What do they mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem I'm having though is because we don't have the ransom notes, we're just listening to what somebody else said that somebody else said, and we don't know precisely the wording, which I think in this case means a lot, So.
Well, the term buried in nature is something that, if Enton was the first one to report that,
I thought he was,
and that phrasing came from him. Either someone made it up, like, oh, let's just throw this out there, or it really is something that was in the actual letter.
Yeah, well, he said he has a source. Yeah, I think he is the first one to say that because he got it from his source that said, buried in nature. He basically, it seemed like he wrote down precisely what the person told him, But where did that person? What if the person said, she's with nature now, and then all of a sudden the guy goes, oh yeah, well, she was buried in nature, and then he switched it up a little bit, So it's hard. That's what I'm saying. It's just those little things, If the guy was verbatimly
I'd like
reading
to know
it,
who his source is. I'd like to know who his source is and whether that person read both of the ransom notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that'd be good to know for sure.
Because if that's the case, then that would, not that we would know who that source is, but if we could know that it was somebody like a case investigator who actually, had access to both of those, somebody's telling him that information.
Yeah, he's got, all these people, like Ashley Banfield as a source. She almost worded her source the same way as he did, sort of an insider. Mm-hmm.
But, to me, what it sounds like, and I put it in the comment that I thought that there's some type of an emotional investment because the typical ransomer, you would think, if they're just in it for the money, I mean, yeah, you could say something to the extent of, well, I know I have a body, and I know that they're probably going to want the body, so if I'm nice to them and I speak to them in a kind way, that they are then going to say, maybe they'll be more likely to work with me and give me the money, that I want for this body. But I don't really...
But the problem is I was going to say, his didn't say that, the one with Brian Enton. It's the Howard Blum one that talks about that. See, that's where it's confusing, because Brian Enton said that his source said it's not a ransom note. They don't classify it as a ransom note. Well, if there's any mention at all in there about like, hey, I'll tell you where the body is if you send me some money, then that's absolutely a ransom. There's no, it's absolutely what it is. Or it could be considered one, no, it's not a ransom. You know what I mean? So that's where it sucks, is that you've got Howard Blum, a guy that wrote a book in the Idaho. I bought the book. It just was so full of inaccurate information. So then you sort of wonder, like, who's his source in this one? Howard Blum.
Well, I mean, Enton said right in that interview, he said, "You know me, I'm not going to put stuff out there if my name is on it."
Yeah, Enton. Enton. I believe in Enton's. I think Enton's source is right, but his didn't say anything about money. Like, it didn't say that. His didn't say, "Hey, we'll let you know where the body is, and you can still send us some money." That was the Howard Blum stuff. His never mentioned that. He specifically said that they didn't consider that note to be a ransom note. So it's almost a reversal of that.
But in the second note, wasn't that the up from 4 to 6 million? The 6 million was in the second note.
Yeah. See, I don't. At this point, it's just like, I don't know what the hell, because a lot of this stuff came from TMZ, right? So now it doesn't even seem like TMZ ever got the second one. So the note that he thought was the second one was from that other person. You know what I mean? It's just it got really stupid really quick. That kind of stuff.
Well,
I just believe
I was under the impression that KOLD received the first one
and second,
and then and then TMZ got the next one.
But TMZ got one that's from that other person who wanted $100,000 and said he's aware that she was buried over there and is scared for his life.
Yeah, that was the follow-up ones after the fact.
So they got number one and like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, these other ones. Number 2, he never got, And so maybe the guy that sent 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that person might be, maybe that person is aware of what happened, like they were saying, or they're just somebody who wanted money. But I guess apparently they couldn't track him either. So it's interesting that they were maybe perhaps using the same technique, well, just a VPN, I guess. I mean, that's not too hard.
I still think that, after I really went over this in my mind again and again and again, that I'm coming around to the nut job theory. I really am.
Remember that? I remember you were the one that actually argued against me the first night, but then you started coming around because it kind of answers a lot of the questions. Now, it's one of the few now that you don't have to say. The nut job theory is one that you don't have to say, well, what about, there's a little bit now, but not as much as the other ones.
It just strikes me as somebody who is local, somebody who knew where the intersection cameras were, knew the roads to take that would avoid the intersection cameras, didn't have far to go, and
there it is.
And maybe has some type of a connection, 3 degrees out, something like that, to where, it wouldn't be on the FBI radar, but that this person has this emotional connection where they want to see them suffer. And I personally think that if you wanted to really see them suffer, what more than what you do, then you'd send out a second letter and it would say, well, here's where she's dead. I have the body. And because you know that they're gonna come back on there and plead to get the body back. And so if you're somebody who's a psycho, you're going to enjoy watching that. You're going to say like, oh, look, I'm in complete control. These people are begging me for, their mother. And this what a nut job would do, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just that it seems like he might have got a little bit more bang for the buck had he sent that to TMZ and KOLD. The second one. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not do that? That's what's a little weird, that it was dumb. That's why it doesn't fit as well with the original one. Like, he puts one out to KOLD and he puts one to TMZ because he wants to make a big splash and get everybody all excited about it. But then all of a sudden on the second one, he's just sending it to KOLD. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing. That to me, it's a strange thing that he, first of all, did it at all. Sent the second one, but then when he sent the second one, why? I think there's a meaning for why he only sent it to KOLD. I think that's an important. I think that actually might be an element that leads to who the person is. That little piece right there. Had he sent it again. Let's say he sent the second one to KOLD and TMZ. Well, he'd be right back where you were. But the fact that he changed that second one up a little bit like that, that might be something that leads them to like who this person might be. Because there's a psychology behind it.
I might be mistaken, but I thought that it went to KOLD first, and it went to TMZ second, and so that my theory all along was that he was upping the ante. He was like, okay, well, I didn't get the desired result I wanted out of KOLD.
That's what I thought. Now. That's actually what I thought too. But it sounds like today, I think that's what I'm saying. A lot of this stuff was misreported, and so I think what we've just found out was that the first. Am I getting this right, you guys? That the first ransom note was sent to TMZ, and he even said that, I think, in that interview today. Was sent to TMZ and sent to KOLD first, I think, and then later in the same day, TMZ got it, or maybe they didn't check their email or something, whatever. But they got it, and then they just didn't get the second one. And he says he's never seen it. He just said that on the... on that interview earlier.
He said he's never seen the second one.
Yeah. So he's never seen it. So now it's sort of interesting, right? Because the first one was like, hey, a big splash, because it's normally people when they do ransom notes they don't do the big thing like that. They keep it quiet. Maybe they would send it to a local news station who might keep it quiet, and you knew that you could send it there anonymously or something. But he sent it to TMZ too. And that just sort of made it seem like, oh, okay, this guy. And then the second one was just sent to KOLD with that information. So what do you make of that now that you know the order there? Are you guys still here? I asked you guys a question. Is that what you guys have figured out, the order? That's what it is now, right? The first letter was sent to KOLD and TMZ. Then the second one was sent to just KOLD, right? See, it's dead as a doornail, man. There's no typing again. Yeah. It's just incredible. Come on, you guys.
There might be a slight delay. Might be a 25-second delay where they're going to type in, but we don't see it for a second.
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah, it's kind of confusing to me, and it makes me actually want to, not that I can right now in our conversation, but it makes me want to go over there to that channel and surf back in time and actually see when they start posting. Because I did go do that one day where I went back in their history and looked and see exactly when things were posted and what they said. And I'm not recalling it the way that he's saying it, but if he's saying it the way that he is,
are you talking about TMZ?
I can't deny it.
You're talking about TMZ?
Yeah.
I mean, I could. You can't hear it, but just even from tonight, Now that's why it's sort of new, because I always thought that TMZ. I actually thought that they got both 1 and 2. You know, I thought that they were getting them together, and then TMZ just started getting those other ones, those ones from some other person asking for $100,000. But then it turns out that even tonight, Harvey said to Ashley that he's never even seen the second one. So the one he always was calling the second one wasn't in fact the second one. It was from that other guy. It was like the third or fourth, fifth, like that one.
I know there was one that I sent you a while back that was a Mary Vargas interview, I believe, but that was way back when it happened.
The dark-haired girl, right?
Interviewed.
Yeah, I remember her. I was actually thinking about that. She has dark hair. KOL.
Yep.
Does she also work at KOLD too, or a different channel?
Yeah, she worked at KOLD, and Mary Vargas was interviewing her. And so Mary Vargas wasn't the one working there. I could Google in a second to see, but I know you can as well. But I'm just saying that interview was interesting because from what I understood from that interview, it looked like KOLD had received it first.
Yeah.
'Cause she was talking, I believe, like receiving it on a Monday night, I believe, during that interview, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and the thing is that's exactly what it is. KOLD got the first one, but then they also sent it to TMZ too. They just got it later in the day. They only saw it later in the day. And then the second ransom note, though, was only sent to KOLD, the one that said that she's not alive anymore. And that's the one that the family responded to. So what is that? What does that make you think, hearing that?
Well, a person could say that he got, cold feet over sending one back over to TMZ, maybe because of what the guy said when he was working with the FBI. So he's like, okay, I'll leave that one alone, and I'll just hit the KOLD because it's a little radio station, and, a little TV station, I should say. And so, maybe go with the weaker of the two, but then that really doesn't go for the big splash at that point. If you're lessening that would be one theory as to why he might,
But don't you think it's interesting though that he? I think it's just really important, the fact that he even sent it at all, the second one. Why did they do that? There's no reason. I mean, if you want to do the part where he's a psycho and he knows that the letter will trickle down to them, it just seems like it wasn't very good payoff. Really, I mean, he did get the Instagram comments, but
they were begging and pleading. I mean, that's about as big of a payoff as you can get.
Yeah, well, it was kind of more just like if we need you to tell her where she is so that we can have peace, But
they did say, we beg of you.
Yeah, I don't know if that was that actually in there? I don't remember hearing that part.
I believe it was, yeah.
Well, I don't know.
But anyway, beyond all that, I mean, the other reason that if we go with the ransom part of this, the other reason why that you would do it is you would say to yourself, the shrewd ransomer would say, okay, well, she's no longer alive, but the body is still worth something. And these people have money, so they'll probably pay for the body if I send them something that, sounds that I'm open to it, And I mean, obviously they were thinking that it might be plausible because they get back on there and say, connect with us and tell us how to make this happen because we want her body. So obviously there was something in that second letter that told them that, there was some type of a chance or possibility that they could get their mother back.
Well, it could just be that they believe that they were the first ones that wanted a ransom note, and then the second ransom note, it says that, we didn't, whatever it was about the heart, or I don't even know if that was in there, but they buried her in nature somewhere. Well, that means the same people that were just asking you for money know where she's buried, So maybe they would be willing to say, I think it would be a more, you could assume that that's might work. You know, like you would say, hey, you know, if we send you another $1 million, will you tell us where her body is so that we can have peace? Right? I don't know if it means that there was something in there that said that, you know, it's hard to say. We'd have to see it.
The buried in nature thing is kind of a tricky thing in the sense that, so if they are having this exchange or this letter, this note that he sends that basically says that she's passed, you know, well, you're putting it out there that she is gone, and my understanding was that the ransom was up to $6 million. So it is almost like you're trying to use the body as leverage at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, unless someone in the chat can say that it didn't go up to $6 million.
Yeah, no, I heard you know, different outlets saying, oh, it's going up and doing this, and you know, let me play that thing again. I got it right here. I just want to see what it says. Maybe it starts off with,
We received your message.
okay, you can't hear that, right?
I can hear that.
Oh, you can through my headphone, or?
Yep, I can hear it through your headphone. Apparently.
I mean, is it really clear for you?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, let's keep going with it.
And we understand.
I only heard it.
We beg you now
Oh, it does say we beg.
to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
Yeah, see, it's really short, but I guess they do, you know. That seems like a. I mean,
and they're all wearing black. And they're all wearing black in the upper part, you know.
Well, the one.
So they're sending the message.
The one lady has brown on, Annie, but.
Is it okay?
But yeah, I mean, it's just the message is that they know now that she's not alive, and you know, I guess we're begging you to give us her location, and even if it means we have to pay you to get the location because we want to bury her properly, so that. You know, we can live in peace. That's basically it. You know, and it's been that way since the beginning.
It just kind of sounds insincere to say she's buried in nature, but oh, by the way, if you give us $6 million, we'll dig her back up and give her to you. Because that's presumably what you'd have to do. You'd have to get her back out of the ground. It's just where she's buried, and then you know. Make it available to where somebody, I mean, I guess you could tell them where it was at and then they could go there, but that would be revealing the grave site. So, you know, you probably move it somewhere and then tell them where it is, you know, but I'm just saying that, you know, for somebody to say, oh, she's buried in nature, which makes it kind of sound like it's permanent, like she's with nature now, that's it, she's gone, and then, but oh, by the way, if you want me to dig her up and give her the body back and just give me $6 million, and you know,
yeah, but they never, but see, the thing is if it said that, then that is a ransom note, right? I mean, that's what that is. If you're saying. If they go, hey, I'll tell you what, you know, we'll let you know where she is, but you have to give me, you know, send some more money. It's $6 million now. That's obviously a ransom note, even though it's a dead body. It's still ransom to get the body back, right? So I mean, but Nate, I mean, not Nate. What the hell's his name again? Brian Enton said that it was. They said it was not a ransom note, and I think that would make it one, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be at best sort of murky whether it was not. It's not a ransom note, you know.
Well, if there's no money asked for, it's not a ransom note.
Right. But you just said that they did, right?
Right.
Right.
$6 million.
Right. So if you're saying that they did, so that's why I'm saying if no money was asked for, I would discount the fact. That element that I think they just said what they said and maybe just left it at that. There was no, and the family's saying, hey, we got your message. You obviously know where she is. Hell, can you just tell us where she is? We'll pay for it, for God's sakes. I don't think there was ever an ask, in my opinion, for it. That's just what I'm
Well,
saying, you know.
And I mean, that would make sense based on the fact that Enton is saying that there was nothing in that second letter that indicated that it was a ransom.
But he's
Yeah,
also saying
I-
saying that the guy that told him said that, not Nate. Nate doesn't know himself. Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah. I just want to make sure everybody knows that he's repeating what somebody else told him. All right.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. To me, the whole thing of this, getting around, getting out of there unseen, the complexity of the roads, the driving around at night, quickly trying to get out of there, but yet you knew how to get out and evade the cameras. And it tells me that there's got to be somebody that lives around that area, somebody that had some type of a beef, and I just don't. The more and more I look at it, it just doesn't sound like somebody who really wanted the money. Like they wanted to put it out there, like they wanted the money.
Right, like that was part of their gig, their little trick, you know. Because there has to be a reason. I mean, look, hey, so they use the ransom angle to make people bite on that and start talking about it. And, we've talked about this many times, just working through stuff about the fact that this person, and we've said it, by the way, if you're new here watching and you saw the same thing on another channel just 2 days ago, we've been talking about it for months, that the person driving around obviously knew the area really well, either from driving there many, many times and he lives in the area, or he literally lives right there and is driven around a whole bunch of times. But you'd still have to learn that little area, but where all the out streets lead to. And, like in your own neighborhood that you live in where you're from, when you're driving around, you might take a random street from time to time. But you generally know, like, okay, if I get back out over here somewhere, it's going to be a place that I know. So even if it was like a little place, just a couple times that he drove out there, he'd be able to negotiate how to do it again because he knows the whole area well, right? But so it's either like he went there multiple times and just worked it out and learned the area. But there's no way in the hell in the middle of the night that you're going to want to, with pitch black, as we've said over here 1,000 times, that you're going to need to know how to get in and out quickly and efficiently and avoid cameras. And what was interesting on that one show was that Annie's path that she took, that we put on the screen while we put all these purple cameras out, those where the cameras are on the streets, her little map avoided all of them, all the way out to and so I don't know, I think she was given that by law enforcement. Anyways, what do you think about that?
Well, and so if you're going along with the nut job theory, for example, and I mean, the ransom or nut job, but let's say if it was ransom and the person's ultimate goal was money, well, then if you were someone who was living in the United States and eventually you're going to try to collect that money, well, if you're going to try to collect it in the United States, you're going to have a problem because there's going to be more surveillance and just more ways to keep an eye on you. But if you go outside of the country, you're also going to have eyes on you crossing the border as well. But then the whole problem disappears if you never really wanted the money in the first place. Because then you can put it out there like, oh, I'm going to go do this, and, you're going to do that, and this is the deal. But you never really intended on fulfilling that deal. You didn't really want the money. You just wanted it out there as if you did so you could get the thrill of people begging for their mother. It's sick, I think, if that's really what he did, if he sat there and he looked at those people crying on that screen, begging for their mother, and he got some joy off of that, that is one dude that is just off his rockers.
Yeah. But the other option would be, just to throw it out there, because I think it's actually, it got a little extra points in its direction, is the ransom gone wrong theory. And then in a ransom gone wrong theory, I think that one even is more likely to have a secondary person that might be driving a car. Wouldn't you agree? If it's a ransom gone wrong theory, that at that point it's not as likely as a singular person, because now you're sort of planning it around. You're just trying to get some money about it. It's not really, if you get arrested for it, it's not like life in prison or anything like that. And
100%.
Yeah, right. So if it's a ransom gone wrong, maybe that walkie-talkie is something that he used to communicate with that person, and then this secondary note was like, listen, we didn't mean to do this. She died. Basically we buried her in nature somewhere. I'm sorry, we can't do any more for you. And they just washed their hands of that right then, and they were out of it. No more notes, no more anything, because they don't want any more notes, any more communication. Even after they saw the plea, they're nervous that might lead to them figuring out who they were. They risked that one more time, but they might not want to do it again. So there you go. So it's that one. I think that theory works a little better now, given the new information.
But if we look at the fact that Enton's saying that, there is no 6 million, there is no ransom in the second letter, that, then it would have just been a letter sent for the intent of informing the family that their mother is now buried with nature, when in fact that if they were really there after the ransom in the first place, they had no reason to let the family know one way or the other, to give them any indication at all. I mean, if you're just there for the money. Now, if you're there for another reason, such as you care about how they feel about that, well, then that might motivate you to write that second letter.
Yeah,
and that doesn't really strike.
Well, that's the thing is that's
that
why
doesn't really.
Yeah, go ahead. We have a delay, so go ahead.
But that doesn't strike me as a ransomer then, who would do that. Like the cold-blooded ransomer sounds to me like a person that.
I don't think the same way as you do about a ransom person. To me, those people are just like transactionally trying to make some money. They're not going to harm somebody. They're just going to get some money. And they didn't want anybody to die. And then the letters, the ransom, not the ransom, the Instagram messages by Savannah maybe had a little impact on them, knowing that their actions caused a lot of pain for people when really they just wanted to get money and would have returned her. See, like, couldn't you look at it like that? That I don't think somebody doing ransom that intended to give a live person back are anywhere near as evil as somebody that would just kill for the sake of it. Those are different types to me.
Yeah, well, walking around with a gun and going inside somebody's home that you don't even know, you got to be a cold-blooded person to go and do that.
Yeah, you got to be somebody. It's sort of like breaking into a house and stealing a safe. Instead, you're stealing a person to get money out of the safe, which is the Bitcoin account. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's just like. I mean, you have to be, like not a good person at all. I think killing somebody is a lot different. I think it's just like people breaking into homes and stealing. Those guys are cold-blooded, cold too, right? But in this case, a ransom for a human, you'd want the person alive. Like that's literally what your whole point is. You just want somebody to pay you money to get them back. So I don't know.
Well, if I had to go with a compassionate ransomer versus the psycho nut job,
you went with the psycho nut job.
Yeah.
Well, but I wouldn't call him a compassionate. I'm saying he didn't want to kill the person. He's not a killer, let's say, right? So all of a sudden, this lady dies, and they felt sort of shitty about it. But that's why it sucks that we don't get to see the letter. Put the damn letter out there, you guys. Because if we see the letter,
we need to
everything that we're talking about right now might be total moot. Like, it doesn't even mean anything. Because it says something different than what we're sort of assuming it says.
Well, the tone in the first letter seemed to be pretty brash and direct and not that we saw it or know what it actually is, but when people who read it describe it, like I read the whole thing, you're right, and then they make it sound like it's like very direct to the point, and you know, you're going to do this, and this is the proof that we've got that we have her, you know, this is a for real thing, and I mean, very business-like in the first letter. Oh man, you know, I mean, you have to have some type of an emotional connection to care about how somebody feels, like, because it's very strange to me. The emotional disconnect is this: that you have the wherewithal that you want to go into somebody's house with a gun that you don't know, scare the living daylights out of a little old lady who you know is a little old lady in the middle of the night. And yet, in the end, you're going to tell me you feel compassion.
I know. You're doing. Yeah, I do. I do think there's people I know that you're trying your best to sell like this. Like somebody that's a ransomer is just as bad as Koberger or somebody, but I don't think that way at all. You know, I mean, I understand. I think it's horrifying for Nancy, the guy wearing a balaclava. He goes in there, etc. Obviously, she's bleeding from something, you know, but, you know, I could see somebody who was like, oh man, let's go, we can abduct Nancy and get millions of dollars, and they're just really thinking they're going to be able to do it. They got everything planned out, the crypto account and all this stuff, and then she dies, and that's definitely not what they planned at all. And then, you know, one of them feels a little bit shitty about it, maybe. Right? It's possible. I'm just saying. I don't know, man.
Well, here's the thing about that, and that is, so if it's two people that committed this, like we were talking earlier, well, then that to me cancels the nut job theory, because it's not going to be two nut jobs working together to accomplish something that they, you know, have some psychological thrill in. It's going to be two people working together because there's a financial objective where they're like, yeah, we're going to get paid, you know. And so in that case, then I could see where one person might feel guilty, another one might not, and but still, then you're novices at that point, you know, because if you're the expert, seasoned person, I don't know. I don't know, Gray. I just think that this person to have, even like when we think about the fact that they walk up on the porch, he walks up on the porch, casual as a cucumber, yet he knows, presumably, that nobody's else inside that home yet. Yet he knows at that very moment that he's going to be going in there to do something to somebody that is literally going to scare the heck out of them, and forever change that person's life.
But can't we say that can't we say the same thing on Halloween? You know, I'm just saying. No, but I'm just saying. I know what you're saying. It may make them freak them out, but they didn't want to kill the person. All I'm saying is they had never intended to kill anybody. I'm just going when we're doing the ransom gone wrong version, okay? You already know that I think that the psycho one fits better in all of the different boxes. We're just discussing the ransom gone wrong theory, okay? The ransom gone wrong theory would mean that the guy went in there to absolutely, you know, abduct Nancy to get money and never intended for her to die. You know, that was never part of the intention. So when she died and they buried her body, you know, maybe the person, or, you know, if there's more persons, one of the two felt some guilt about it. Now, you might not think those people would ever feel guilt, but for me, they might, because for me, that's kind of, you know, I'm sure bank robbers feel guilt. Like let's say somebody robbed a bank and the teller died of fear, you know, they might feel bad later about that, because they didn't really want that. They just wanted to steal the money. You know what I mean? It's different.
Well, I mean, I guess if Carmelo Anthony felt guilt, he didn't intend for Metcalf
that guy didn't. He never felt. That was funny when he said, he's like, he touched me and I said him not to touch me. And then a minute later, he looks totally normal. Like he never was crying at all. That guy's a fake, just that whole thing. And the media out there is being ridiculous about it still, It's embarrassing.
So some people, when they commit a horrible act, aren't going to feel any type of anything about it. They're just not going to, because they're psychopaths. They don't feel like a normal person would. With it, when you see someone who is harmed, that you would feel compassion for that person. The psycho doesn't feel that connection. They actually might have came from an environment where they got abused. So now when they see other people, suffering, that's a psychological payoff for them. They're like, oh, well, we like to see someone, suffering and going through misery, because, they kind of had that in their training when, if they were abused, that someone else kind of maybe, was treating them that way. And some of these things just get carried on, especially when it comes to, I personally think that for anyone to go inside someone else's home with a gun, even if it was for ransom, where you didn't intend to kill that person, just walking in there with a gun means it's kind of like taking a knife to a track meet. That if push comes to shove, you're going to use your weapon. And the fact that you're going to use a gun if you have to.
Yeah, well, the gun. You could argue that the gun's just there to control her.
True.
That's right, because it's easy to do that. You pull out the gun and you say, "Hey, do what I say," but you're not intending to shoot somebody. You have it.
A deterrent.
Yeah, it's just there as. Hell, it could have been that gun looked like it could have been plastic. It was the stupidest looking thing I've ever seen. But I'm just saying, in the case of the ransom gone wrong, I think you could make an argument that is almost as equally makes sense, because that does look like a walkie-talkie in his pocket, right? With the antenna on it, right?
It does.
Right.
It does.
So once you see that, I go, okay, it's a walkie-talkie. And if let's say we knew right now that was a walkie-talkie, wouldn't you then say, "Oh shit, that it would make it like 90-something% that there was another person there"?
Yes.
Yeah. So then you'd go, okay, well, that would make it more likely it's a ransom gone wrong story, which matches that second letter perfectly, doesn't it?
Yes.
So it's weird, right? That's like, so. I don't know. It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you can, that one walkie-talkie argument is that's a huge element too. I wonder what law enforcement thinks, or the FBI thinks of that.
But we do not know for certain that it couldn't have been a scanner. I know I watched you do the show, and you did a great job, but we cannot rule it out 100% that it wasn't a scanner.
Yeah, sure. That's the whole thing. It's like, could have been a scanner. I can tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't a jammer, all right?
Right.
That was just one of those things that just took off like wildfire by people who want it to be some crazy, oh my God, they got a jammer. The only house that didn't jam, though, was the one that they were at. Because the cameras still worked and filmed stuff. It just got lucky that they didn't pay their bill. Yeah.
Well, the trickier thing about two people, and I'm certainly not saying that, it certainly is a plausible angle. But the trickier thing about it is that the longer the time goes on, in my opinion, the greater the probability is that one or both of them is going to crack, because it's hard to keep secrets. And people like to run their mouth, and especially if they're novice-type people. And I just think that the fact that it's went on this long, and nobody's told for the money, nobody's narked anybody out, that to me what it suggests is either there is a very strong loyalty between these two people to where they would not tell on each other because there's this bond.
Maybe brothers.
Or, and then this one I really don't go with. I hear other people say, well, maybe they're dead, or maybe that's why they're not talking, because they're dead. I don't really go with that, but it's possible. It's possible. So, but if it's two people, it is pretty incredible that they've made it this far and not said anything. Because I could see if it was one person who was a local driving away and they're saying, all I got to do is evade this camera, this camera, this camera, this camera, and I get home and nobody's going to be the wiser.
No, but if you listen to those guys, you listen to, it's going to be somebody at a bar, even if it was a single guy. He'd just be at a bar talking about it, right? Yeah.
Well, I mean, whoever it is going to be, if it's one person, you'd have to be very secretive because you'd know that even if you brought it up in a weird way, it would raise eyebrows. So you really could never bring it up in social conversation unless someone else brought it up first. And then even then you'd have to say things very lightly just to not attract attention to yourself, especially if you're local in that area, because everybody's antennas that live in that area is up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been
good.
Like, it's been kind of a short amount of time too. It's not like if there was two people that did it, they probably know the consequences each individually since somebody died, not to say anything, because it would affect the other person. Maybe they're closer, like they're best friends or they're brothers or something like that. If there is two people, so we're just saying if there's two in the abduction for ransom that went wrong theory. Okay, but I mean, we could spend all day talking about that. Sometimes people don't say anything, even if there's multiple people. That's just the way it is. All right, so it's like even if there's two people, sometimes people don't say anything. That's just reality. So we can sit here and say, well, how come nobody said anything yet? Well, I mean, because they didn't.
But I could still see it going down exactly the way that you had said, which is there's only one person who enters the house.
Yeah, easily.
And, so, for example, like if you're two people and you're having this conversation and you say, well, listen, if we bring two people in the house, we're going to increase the chances of DNA contamination. So only one person goes in the house, between the two of them.
Right, and you drive the car and you be the, you be a lookout out there. You be a lookout, and you're going to be the car that pulls up that we're going to pull out. Now I'm taking out that camera right over here. We've talked about this, and then when I'm in the house and I'm ready to take Nancy out of the house, I'm going to radio you with my walkie-talkie, and then I want you to pull up right here, and then you can help me put her into the car, and one of us has to sit next to her and keep her quiet while we're driving. Whatever the hell it is, right? Or maybe she's in the trunk, however you want to picture all that stuff. The trunk is more like if there's one person. I would think if there's two, you could just keep one with a gun and keep the other person, keep her nice and quiet, just sitting there. But it's that simple, right? I mean, the guy pulls up right around 2:25, and they're out the door driving away at 2:28. So the car minimizes the amount of time that the car is parked in front of the home.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If they had plotted it out to the degree that we're talking about, or a single person, so if it was a single person doing it and they weren't driving far, and by far I mean like let's say it was less than 5 miles that they had to go, you wouldn't really necessarily need to worry about how well hidden she was in the car in case you got pulled over, because the probability is pretty low within 5 miles. But if you go out to like 20 miles or 30 miles of driving, and well, what about if you do get pulled over and she's sitting in the back seat, or and she's bloody? Even if you try to cover her up, it's still going to, cop shines a light in through the window, and you're toast. So to me, that means that she got put probably in a trunk, and that may have been where she passed. Although I don't, I asked it in the chat earlier tonight whether she would have passed between the first and the second ransom note.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's what Harvey's saying. You put the dots together, and it's 3 days. Because they did put out the first ransom note. So if it's a ransom that went wrong, they probably had her alive right when they sent that out. But they sent that out on the 2nd, like right away, right? And then so maybe she just died a little bit after that.
So that would have showed that she would have at least made it likely, at least alive, to the destination where they had to take her.
Yeah.
Because at that point, right, because, I mean, the first letter is not saying your mother is now passed and she's with nature. That's the second letter. So the presumption is she was alive during the first letter when it was written.
Yeah, if the ransom gone wrong is the theory. That's what I'm saying. If the ransom gone wrong is the theory, then she's alive. And if it's the psycho, then it's just, she was already dead and they just pretended, oh, yeah. But then you got to say, the ransom gone wrong theory is actually starting to make more sense. Because then it's like, okay, she was alive originally. They were trying to get the money. Then she passed away. They buried her and they said, hey, we didn't do that. They're basically saying we didn't do it intentionally, but they know that they're going to be responsible, like a felony murder. But they just wanted to say, hey, she's at least she's buried somewhere peacefully. Okay, bye, out of here. So that one makes a lot of sense.
The compassionate ransom.
Well, it's not like they're incredibly. They said they never said that they were sorry. So they just literally said, she died. We didn't realize this. And they said we also in there. That's one Enton. So the word we is in there, which then now you got the walkie-talkie and the other guy with the car,
Yeah. Well, now the we part is very interesting because, I mean, I watched the Enton thing, and I didn't catch that part, to be honest with you, when he said it was we. So, but I'm not contesting what you're saying. I just think that that is a very interesting phrasing, because if it was the letter, the second letter or first letter was written with a plural, like we, like you're going to send us the money or that kind of thing, where we was used, and they didn't want to divulge that information because it would ultimately indicate that they knew that two people had done it, or at least two, that they didn't want to share that, then, they'd keep it secret and we would never know, when in fact it could have been the case all along that was the phrasing in both of the letters, as it was coming from a we type, team type of situation, where they teamed up and, we're writing it jointly, whereas like two people sit down. I mean, this kind of goes back to like, as much as I hate to say it, it could go back to the old thing where they were talking about on the other channel about the chef and the waiter. Because when you go to the two people, then you're like, okay, well, one was a smart and one was a dumb one, and one was the composer of the letter, and one knew how to evade, the FBI and how to use crypto and blah, blah, blah. And the other one was just kind of like, I'll go in the house and get her, or I'll be the driver, whichever one it was, But, I mean, that is something that's been put out there, not that I necessarily agreed with the fact that one was necessarily, the servant and the other one the master. I didn't agree with that.
I don't agree. I don't agree with those kind of comments like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting too, like, they're trying to sound too, like, in the culture of investigators, the master and the, it's just, give me a break, okay? Just,
well, orchestrated, like you're my puppet kind of thing,
right?
Yeah. But yeah, I just think that, I mean, yes, it is. For me personally, I don't know that the ransom over the nut job has gained any more than where it was at before as I moved the needle. For me, it's kind of like everything has pretty much stayed the same, but that's partially because I can't see with the whole second letter and see what it said.
Yeah.
If we could just see those letters.
The letters, what I need to be able to see the letter. I mean, if I don't, it's like the letter is key to actually knowing what the hell, obviously what was said, but then being able to then theorize. So I think I'm pretty good, I think, when I get letters or hear something and able to sort of deduce what the meaning. And I think a lot of people are good at that, so it'd be kind of cool to put it out there and have everybody dig into it, but apparently we're just not going to get to see it. I don't know why it can't be released at this point. It's already been discussed.
It's why and it doesn't make sense to me why Etten and other people like him wouldn't say to themselves, okay, there's only a select few individuals that say that they read the entirety of this letter. And if I was Etten, I'd be beating on those people's door to say, give me an interview so I can talk to you. Now, they might be sworn to secrecy, which they probably are by the FBI, that don't tell what the contents of the letter are. But, I mean, they know what the letter, a few individuals know the entirety of those letters, and they're not the case investigators. They're people who are the reporters that received it off the platform,
Yeah.
So they know exactly what was said.
Yeah, I don't know why at this point, since so much of it's apparently been revealed, that you can't share the text of it.
So it makes me wonder if the FBI said under no circumstances, if someone comes to you, they offer you money, they give you incentives, you do not say what the contents of that letter that you read, you don't say what it was. I mean, because they've been very tight-lipped.
Yeah.
The woman who interviewed Mary Vargas, who interviewed the woman at KOLD with the dark hair that you were talking about, she's not said a word about it since.
Yeah. But I guess they were sort of doing what the FBI wanted, and Harvey isn't, so they ghosted him. Harvey talks about it all the time.
Well, one thing I do want to say is we've got over 200 people watching right now from what I can tell, and I just want to say that Gray Hughes does an outstanding job. He has been way ahead of everybody else on this case, and if you go back and you look at his videos, you actually will see that, where he says things that other people say much later. And it's one of the reasons why I tune into this channel. It's my favorite channel, and I don't even watch the other ones anymore. But they do come up sometimes in my feed still, unfortunately, because I didn't like them or unlike them enough. And so I see these little titles that will be in there, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I see what they're working on that angle. And I know that they're stealing from Gray. But for all of you out here who are watching right now, that I just want you to know that this is the channel that you come to when you want facts. The other channels, they will really try to sensationalize information to make it seem more than what it is, and on this channel, you're not going to get it here. So, that's why we say hit that like button, because he works hard for this, and he does it for a worthwhile cause for the charities, these victims of crimes that he works for, that he sends money out to for these people and the organizations that help them. So,
well, just to clarify that, I don't work. I just want to I don't work for the charities and stuff, but I bring in money to the show. I try to get you guys, right now I'm trying to get this challenges met, and you guys aren't doing it. But we're trying to I try to bring in funds that help support my channel, that allows me to keep doing the shows, and then I take a large portion every month of the income, and we've got up to $298,000 since January of 2020 given out. So it's kind of a way to just kind of keep everything moving along. It's been pretty cool, but it seems I don't want people to think I work for the charities or anything like that. I give them lots of money over the years because of you guys and ad revenue, etc. But the trolls like it when there's somebody says something like that. They go, "Oh, see, look, people think that it's all When you're supporting my channel, it just goes to my channel, and at the end of the month, we donate a large portion of the income that comes into the channel. Usually right around 30 to 35% of the gross income that comes in goes to true crime-related charities. So there you go.
And you just don't see this on other channels. For everybody who's listening, if you go out there and watch, they keep all that money all to themselves. So, I mean, I won't speak to all the channels, but I'm just saying that this is the channel that you won't see any other channel that matches the figure that this channel has. So,
well, there you go.
But great. Yep. I want to say thanks for inviting me into the call. I hope that a couple other people call in tonight because it's been a great show.
Well, we should do it again, but also, everybody, make sure you have the positive vibes for Jason out there for his procedure tomorrow where they pull a bowling ball through his frontal area there. Okay. Well, it's not really a bowling ball.
Appendage.
Yeah, appendage. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be brutal. But thank God I'm going to be out, and so I just wonder, like, do they strap you down when you're out, like, because you might try to like be moving around?
Yeah, they do. But I would actually tell them. You know what? I'll tell you right now. You should tell them, like, listen, when you strap me down, make sure, because I tell you what, the strapping down of people getting surgery, especially, maybe not the type you're getting, but like spinal and anything, the strapping down actually causes lifelong injuries in people because they strap you down for like 5 hours, and a lot of times it'll cut off like your brachial plexus or something. And you have to go into therapy for months, and you never quite get your strength back because they really affected that nerve. It's a thing that people don't really talk about very often. It's weird.
Well,
it's crazy.
If I don't come back off the anesthesia, I want a full crime scene investigation.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be doing jumping jacks in no time.
Oh,
yeah.
I just picture those movements right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, hey, freaks, great job tonight, and let's continue supporting the channel. And it's been my pleasure. And let's get another call into Gray.
All right. Thanks, Sue. Thanks for calling in. Have a good one. Good luck.
You got it. Have a good one.
All right. See you. All right. Did we reach any of the goals up there? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We need one more. Gifted membership, and then I'll donate 5. I don't know where Karen's is with her goal. Where are you at, Karen? But we need one more for mine, all right? I was going to donate 5 memberships if we get 1 gifted membership. No, that's crazy. When they did my neck, surgery was like 4 or 5 hours, and they strapped me down. I couldn't even use my tricep for a while. They determined that it was all still together because they did that electrical, what is it called, like EMG or some shit like that, where they shock the hell out of you. But it just wasn't working. All right, can we get 1 gifted membership, you guys? This is where it's just like, why does this have to be like this? My God, it's like a Snickers bar. Yeah, it messed nerve up in my arm from being, long time they have you strapped down there. It sucks. They don't tell you about that shit. That's like an absolute danger for surgery, is the way they strap you down. They make you so tight that you can't move in the slightest. All right, I'm just waiting. We're just trying to get to that last one. And then when I donate the 5, that'll probably reach yours, Karen, right? Hey, look at that. Karen did 1. you did the 1, Karen? All right. What? Why is that, man? Jesus, you guys. Karen, Alley Cake, Wild Bill Wassman. All right. Here we go. And here is the 5 that I'm doing. All right, there you go. There you go. I think if I combine all of this, even with my earlier show, maybe that'll get us to the goal or something. Man, on my screen I see the magenta look of the 5. I haven't seen that. I rarely see that anymore. Magenta. Hey, thanks, Paul Ayers, again. You were here earlier today, too. Appreciate that. Now, the surgery itself is fine, but tell them, hey, listen, I don't want to be strapped down so tight that it causes injury, or when you strap me down, make sure you're aware of not causing injury on any of my, the nerves that come out. It's just incredible, really. It's ridiculous. That's still 2 or 3, really? I thought we just got past all that. I just did 5. We had 2 from Paul Ayers and Karen. Well, that was you, though, wasn't it? Okay. Anyway, thanks for reaching my challenge, at least. That was good. All right, let's see. They must be afraid you will wake up during... I know. Well, they think they don't want you to move, especially when they're doing spinal stuff. Yeah, because if you move the slightest, it might cause... They might cut your spinal cord or something. But at the same time, come on, they got to figure something out. That's dumb. Like, what, you go in there for spinal surgery to... because you have pressure on a nerve, and then they strap you down so hard, the same nerve gets destroyed. Does that make any sense at all? To anybody? No, they strap you down after you get put out. Yeah, it's like, well, you're not aware at all. They just strap the hell out of you. But just tell them, hey, make sure that when you strap me down, it's not affecting my nerves. Right, yeah, well, and that issue's almost worse. They said that they, like, squished the nerve where, like if you take a piece of spaghetti that's cooked and you squeeze it, how it smashes out, but everything was still connected. But it just didn't work very well. Did we reach your challenge, Karen? I'm checking. What yours was? It doesn't look like it. I don't know. I didn't see it. Had your throat cut. Anyway, I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll be right back. If you guys have any, wait, hold on. Ah, shit. God.
Call from.
Hello, who's this?
Hi, this is Colin.
Yeah, what do you got?
Hey, great. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
I don't know what that is. It just got disconnected. Oh well. Oops. I was trying to press a button over here and it just went. Let's see. What do we got here? Wild Bill Wassman. Hey, Karen, did we reach your goal? Your challenge? Ding, 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 ding. How come you never comment, KK, unless there's something that shows up like that? Like, you're just sort of like, are you even part of the... I mean, it's wild. You never say anything until something like that. Yeah, people have to say, oh, hi, how's it going? I think it did, though, because I did 5, Karen. I did 5 by myself. So I had to rob Peter to pay Paul, but I think we reached your challenge. All right, anyways, I got to use the restroom. It's like 1,000 degrees in my bathroom over there. Good luck. You like my bow up here? I don't know what it is with this Oregon State shirt. It looks like I have an orange bow on. Yeah, I wasn't sure about that last caller. Just the way they were slow and stuff like that. Just wasn't sure what was happening. But I don't think I intentionally hung up. I was trying to like mute something and I hit the wrong button. I don't think I did. I guess that's means that I did. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Karen. Oh, the dogs must be outside. Oh, they cut. Hey, you want me to go get Gracie? She just got her hair cut. Want me to go get her? I mean, Chris cut her hair with clippers and stuff and did all that. That's the Maltese. I sort of, it was sort of half accidental. I was trying to make it quiet. Yeah, I needed to go to the bathroom really bad, actually. Hey, so if you're out there, Colin, call back again, Colin. Call in, Colin. You get it? All right, let me go get the, let me get that. Okay, hold on a second. A lot bigger. All right, here we go. She got all her haircut and everything. Look at. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Look at, there's people looking at you. See, look at. She was like she had such long hair. She looked like a sheep. So it's all been sheared off. Okay, right there. Right there, look. Look at right there. Like your belly rub. Got your belly rub. Oh. I know, her arms are up like that. Yeah. Look at everybody. They're all looking at you. Look. Okay. Ugh. All right. But yeah, I think she's a hell of a lot cooler now, because this was, her hair was like this long. It looked like a sheep. Like that? Yeah. It really likes her belly rubbed. It's hard to do it in here though. What are you looking at? I bet she's so much cooler now, though. Yeah, I didn't put the ponytail thing on her head. I didn't do that. Yeah, this one's bigger than... This one weighs like 12 or some odd pounds. Chloe weighs 3. I mean, she's so little. She's about the size from here up, you know. Yeah, she's pretty calm. Yeah, he looked at me like, what? Did you hear what I said? You heard what I said, right? Well, thank you. You're a lot cooler now, aren't you? Right? A lot cooler. She was, I bet you could fill up a pillow with the amount of hair that was taken off of her. Yeah, she was so hot outside. She didn't even go outside. I think now she would want to run out there. A lot more comfortable to hold too, you know, just. All right, here we go, here we go. Look one more time at him. Okay, just. All right. We don't get a lot of ticks over here. There might be some over at the chicken house, but. How could you not let them sleep in bed with... because, I don't know. Beds are for humans, you know? Maybe during the day, taking a nap or something. Alright, I'm gonna go put her back. There you go. Let's go. It almost seemed like she knew that she was on camera or something. Yeah. I don't know. I used to when I was... Well, I don't even know if I've ever... I don't think I've... I mean, I've taken naps with my dog on a bed or something. But I just don't want to do the, you know, wake up in the middle of the night and, you know, there's a dog sitting there and I don't know. Doesn't seem... I think if you're used to doing that, it's fine. But... Yeah, little feet. Anyways, I don't know, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Ask questions? Did you guys see the earlier show today? It was pretty interesting. Hey, thank you. It does help. Any amount helps. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I want to survive in the true crime world. It's hard these days with so many people coming from television onto YouTube, and everybody thinks that they know everything so much better than everybody else because they were doing something. And I tell you what, if you watch my channel when we're covering cases, you know, even if you don't like the fact that I say, hey, if you could help support the channel all the time because I try to reach the goals, you can see how accurate and how, like, when we go through a case, when it's all, like, even way before the media talks about stuff, you'll see that we're already saying those things. Okay? And a lot of it, you know, comes from, you know, you have conversations, you look at the information that's out there, what makes the most sense based on what you're looking at, and it's amazing how often that becomes reality. But the people who make it are the ones that make up something that's more entertaining and interesting, even if it means they have to switch later. The people that watch them are okay with them, you know, basically that they lied to you for a week as they went over a certain way, and then they switch over to something else, and you're okay with that. I think that sucks. I mean, it's not real. That means they're not doing. Now on my channel, I'm not. Some cases I get to go to the place, etc. Most of the time we don't get to. So what you have to do is rely on the information given to you by different reporters out there, and then I'm good at like collating the relevant information and then figuring out what's going on based on that information. But anyways, did you guys watch the show earlier today? Was pretty interesting. Did you guys see that one with the 3 bodies found? Somebody actually, there was a house for sale. Or it wasn't for sale, there was a house, and the people living in the house who bought it in 2019, they stopped making mortgage payments in 2024, probably in automatic payments out of their account. There was a delivery driver who had been there in October of 2023 and smelled a foul odor and had been delivering cleaning products to the home, and all those deliveries were gone when he'd go there the next time. But he had a foul odor smell. He thought it smelled like decomposition, then got a hold of the police, and he never heard back to what they did. But then the house went into foreclosure and was purchased in an auction by somebody. And then when they finally got inside the home, there was... but it was interesting because the fire department had been out there a couple times prior to that. And also in 2021, the fire department's paramedics went out there 3 times and took an individual to the hospital. But in 2023, in July, you can see from Google Earth that the lawn and everything was not taken care of and was grown over, but it had been taken care of prior to that using the same satellite imagery. So it seems like right around the time of July of 2023, something really, really wrong happened inside the home. And just coming up right in this time frame, right now, when somebody purchased the home on foreclosure sale, they went inside the home finally, and there was 3 bodies in there that were already skeletonized. And 2 of them were the mother and son of the people who bought the house in 2019, and there's a 3rd body that DNA they haven't got back yet, what I would assume would be the husband. But if it's not the husband, then it really gets crazy. But apparently there was also these signs put up at maybe that said, owner occupied, stay out, after they would have been dead. However, maybe that was as Paul Ayers said, maybe that was the insurance, the bank putting that there so people wouldn't be squatters or something like that. And, they probably likely died from some sort of drug, not drugs, but like, maybe you can consider it a drug, maybe, carbon monoxide poisoning, something like that. Maybe that's how they died. But it was also interesting that I think that they've been in there for 2.5 years, dead in that house. And then you think, wow, nobody, not one family member, but then apparently an aunt or somebody said they kind of are reclusive, that whole, their family, and we didn't know where they were. We didn't even know they were in Connecticut. We didn't know anything. But still kind of odd that, like, there's nobody that they worked with, or like the 22-year-old, don't they have any friends that were like, hey, where the hell is, Brian, I think his name was. Where it's just kind of a crazy story, And so I'm waiting to see what if it turns out that that's not Paul, the husband, then now you got something weird going on. Why were they delivering in October of 2023 all of those cleaning products? Isn't that weird? Yeah, it was only like an hour long live stream. You should go watch it. It's pretty crazy stuff. I think I might do more of that, kind of like in the middle of the day, just do some kind of a, hour on this or an hour on that. Who knows? But anyways, is Zozo in here? I didn't see her. Yoshi and Tofi. We'll say hello to Yoshi and Tofi. Hey, by the way, what do you guys think of that? This sound effect right here. This one right here.
The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come.
I got that in my stream deck. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. That was from Olivia Gonzalez to Gonzalez to Koberger. Remember that? It's good stuff. Do it again, little buddy. Skipper. Yeah. I have an idea. Oh, you were actually here? Oh, I didn't see you in there. Hunt the virus? That would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? Why do you think they were getting all that cleaning supplies? I mean, maybe that guy's just, remembers incorrectly. It's kind of, don't you think it's a little weird that a delivery driver 2.5 years later, well, I guess, no, it's not that weird because he actually called police. So that would be something that would sort of ingrain the situation at the time in your mind. Yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, it's not a video. It was a live stream, but it was only an hour and something. And you can probably get the whole story in the first half. I repeated it again because more people showed up. But how's it going, Zozo? The legendary Zozo popped in. Hey, it's good to see you. Feels like old times just for a moment here. Just for a moment. There's Zozo. The lovable Aussie. But she can be mean too, I can tell you that. I'm just kidding. She's got a lot of crap going on right now. How's all that going? Say good or bad? I'd never use that name. What name? Zozo? I don't know what a Ouija board. Well, it's not her actual name. It's close to that. But... Oh, yeah? So, like, you're cleaning rats. I mean, it's kind of weird in a house that's that nice to have a rat problem. You know? That would be interesting, though, wouldn't it? Any other thoughts out there? Anyways, make sure to give All right. That guy never called back in. Yeah, you think he'd call? I think they were a troll, actually. I think they were going to make some stupid derogatory remark. Yeah, we know about the Gene Hackman's wife. We covered that on here. I was in pest control, and their house was in a wooded area. Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe that's what that is. Oh, it's funny. I'm looking at my other computer, which is like 25 minutes behind, and I'm holding Gracie in that picture. Yeah, I like it when her hair's short like that. It's way better. Yeah, let me show you guys. I'll show you. Where's that? It was in... I guess if people are still here, I can just show you the place. All right, let's see. Where the hell was it? I'm trying to find my folder. I wonder if I don't have it. Did I? Oh, there it is. 3 bodies. There you go. 7 Stanwich Lane. Oh, yeah, it's Connecticut. I was trying to remember, like, what the hell? Yeah, it's in Connecticut. And here is the house right there. See, what was interesting about it was, if you look at it, I mean, this is one of those times where you just love having the drunk Google Earth drivers that literally went down somebody's driveway and made it to this spot. And you can see the house there. This is old, though. This is only about 5 years after the house was built. This is 2007. But, like, look at how crazy. Why would a Google Earth driver go anywhere near there? I mean, that is amazing. Yeah, I could see them going like this. But instead, they went up these guys' driveway, which is crazy. But if you look at this right here, let me show you on Google Earth. It's pretty interesting. I didn't do it until I got onto the show because I thought it might be interesting. So they bought the house in 2019. And then right there's a little island. Okay. And then 2020, you can see the island sitting there. And then 2022, there's the island. See that? Nice and kept up. They're still living there. The same people. They've been there for 3 years at this point. There's a little island. But then look in, and then, wait, hold on. They got rid of the God, that's so crazy. They had a October 2023, and it's gone now. That was there earlier today on this up here. Well, hold on. Let me make sure. That is just crazy. So that's May. I don't know. That does say May 6, 2026, but I don't think that's right. That's so crazy. I did this earlier today, and there was an October. It wasn't October. It was July 2023, and it showed that this was completely grown over in 2023 in July. So they likely weren't doing anything. And if you watch the show, you'll see it. It's that satellite image is not there anymore. How is that even a thing? That's just crazy. You guys see that? Look at that. That's March 2022, and then it goes right to May. They say May of 2026, but I don't think that's correct. What are the odds? That's so crazy. You guys watched it, right? I had July of 2023 on the screen. Or it might have been June. So you have to go watch it later. But it shows that this is all backed in and so forth. Let's see. My friend's telling me how he actually dated Savannah Guthrie, and I believe him. Because he actually, I think he lived in New York or something like that. When he was 23 years old, and then I guess Nancy would have been 40-something years old at the time. Let's see. It's 53 degrees where I live now. Yeah, it's been so hot over here. Been like 90, 100 degrees, etc. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. If you could hit the like button for me. Believe it or not, we only have 129 likes. That seems pretty ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't get 150 people to hit the damn like button. I mean, it's so easy to do, you guys. It's just so hard to get people to literally press it. How dare you tell me to hit the like button? I'll hit the damn thing if I want to. Okay, don't hit it then. All right, but let's hit that like button, all right? Right now, okay? No excuses. Hit that like button, 10, 20, 25, 30. Hit that like button, 40, do our here, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. Hit that like button. Hit that like button, use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows. Hit that like button, it's the easiest damn thing to do in the world. Hey, we got 6 of them right there. Very cool. Oh, the Blazers hired a new coach today, you guys. And the NBA, our new owner is coming off as probably the cheapest owner in the history of any pro sports. His team just won the Stanley Cup, by the way. He owns a hockey team, the Carolina Panthers. And now he's the owner of the Blazers, but he doesn't realize how the NBA works. So the first thing he did was during the playoff games, he made sure nobody got the T-shirts that they normally get. He didn't want anybody to get those. So he put a little towel there. And then he also, the two-way players that normally go on the road with the playoff teams, he's kept them at home. And then he had everybody check out of their hotel early. He's like the poorest billionaire that you've ever seen. Okay, he barely squeaked by to buy the team. And then he hired a coach today. And guess what he gave the coach? So he took this assistant coach that was on the Minnesota Timberwolves for many years, and is like a 17, 20, I mean, heck, I think even 30 years in the assistant coaching world. He knows what he's doing. And we waited till we were the last team available for somebody, so this guy took it. And here's his contract. He got 1 year as a head coach with the team option on the year after that and the year after that. So if he sucks, we can just say, forget it. All right. And then the first year, the year that he is doing, he has incentives through the year to, I mean, it's like there's no security at all. What assistant coach would want to be there? Also, wouldn't this coach be like, shit, I'm going to play my starters 40 minutes a game. I got to get to the, not resting him at all. Yeah, let's get that like button pressed, you guys. We're at the 141. We're at 141, 141. Go here, 142, 142, 143, 145, 150, 150, 150. Use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows. Hit that like button. It's the easiest damn thing to do in the world. Everybody does it these days. Well, apparently not on my channel. All right. Well, anyways, thanks everybody for being here tonight. I think didn't I already go through and maybe I didn't. Did I? Thank everybody. Okay, we got Wild Bill Wassman, Alley Cake, Wild Bill Wassman, Alley Cake, Tracy Von Brott, Jareth King, Wild Bill Wassman, 6 Kids UK, a person who literally has 6 kids in the UK, in fact didn't watch the show for a long time because they were having so many babies they didn't have time to watch Gray Hughes Investigates. Then Alley Cake, Wild Bill Wassman, Tracy Von Brott, Wild Bill Wassman, Wild Bill Wassman, Rebecca from Connecticut. Then we had Whiskey Boots. Then we had Wild Bill Wassman. Then we had 6 Kids UK, who found time in between feeding the kids to send in a super chat. And then we have Wild Bill Wassman, Haley, Jim Lon, Wild Bill Wassman, Mike Spam, Dan, Wild Bill Wassman, Karen 777, Haley, Wild Bill Wassman, Haley, Wild Bill Wassman. You notice a theme in there? Wild Bill Wassman, Wild Bill Wassman. Maya Leah, or Maya Lee, 6 Kids UK, Karen 777, Paul Ayers. Then I gifted 5. Then we had Lamia and Paul Ayers. Then we had Karen on PayPal a couple times, did challenges for the dogs. Then we also had Timothy Cecil with a coffee challenge earlier. So that was cool. What did Zozo say up there? Oh, I asked her that question. Might have missed it. Let's see. No, I don't think she... Oh, there she is. Still a lot going on. Subpar. Okay. Her name is Zoe. Okay. I didn't know if she wanted her name, but I'm sure it's already out there. Anyways, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. I appreciate it. Did I say your name? What did I say? Okay, how did I say it so I don't... Was it Lamia? Did I say it right? Or... Oh, man, now I probably screwed it up. I just got lucky, you know? That's all it was. Pure luck. Oh, Maya Leah, right? Yours? Yeah. All right. What else? Oh yeah, I was just gonna play the. Is it this one? Which one was the one that sounded? Oh, it's in. I think it's this sound effect. Yeah. I'm going to do my PIR Portland International Raceway. Here we go. This is PIR, Portland International Raceway, with the biggest thing since the Pinewood Drag. We have Rod Laver, a retired astronaut with his hydroelectric car. Yes, he's guaranteed to rip up the road right in front of your face. We also have Jim Hansen with his Beaver Mobile, the only car that knocks down trees at 200 miles an hour. Trials from 6 and 7 be there. Yeah. Hey, where's this other one? Here we go. From the green forests of the Pacific Northwest, I bid you all good evening, or good morning as the case may be. Tonight we'll have on a special guest, Richard C. Hoagland, and he'll tell you why we haven't been back to the moon in over 100 years. He says in 50 years. We'll also have on Linda Molden Howe for the cattle mutilations and crop circle. Maybe we could do the flyby with this music. Let's do it. Let's do the flyby with this music. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, ready? Here we go. Do a flyby with this one. I was doing that pretty good with the music right there. You see that? Here, I'll do the original one. Where is that one? It's called Furious Freaks. Believe it or not. Isn't that wild? It's in Utah somewhere. Hey, no problem, Mary Lou. No problem.
Well, gee, thanks. Without being mean at the end of the show.
Well, why do you have to ruin it by saying that? That sounded like what the trolls would say.
Gosh, Gray, you aren't very nice.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just fine. Thanks, everybody.
You did it to me again. Another trick, fake, poser, cry moment. All right, thanks, everybody. See you guys later.
Evil can never be dead enough. And some of you, you make shit up.
Thank you, freaks.